Saturday night, no sermons, just ease. Discussions flow like midnight breeze. No prophets here, just minds to tease. We talk big bangs and evolution, question faith with our solution. Stars align in our confusion, breaking free from old illusion. Join the fun, no need for trust. Dust to dust, we're stardust. No heaven high or hell to fear. Saturday night, we hold it dear. Point and laugh and myth believers. Here we're all truth seekers. Open hearts and swift deceivers. Make your stand, no hidden levers. Raise your glass to reason's thrill. No ancient text, it's our own will. Debate till dawn with the panel and host. Saturday night, where we love toast. Echoes of a godless choir. Like the world, let's spark the fire. Free thought mindset to inspire. No holy walls to take us higher. Join the fun, no need for trust. Dust to dust, we're stardust. No heaven high or hell to fear. Saturday night, we hold it dear. Join the fun, no need for trust. Dust to dust, we're stardust. No heaven high or hell to fear. Saturday night, we hold it dear. Join the fun, no need for trust. Dust to dust, we're stardust. No heaven high or hell to fear. Saturday night, we hold it dear. Oh, you laugh and myth believers. Here where we're all truth seekers. Open hearts and swift deceivers. Make your stand, no hidden levers. Raise your glass to reason's thrill. No ancient text, it's our own will. Debate till dawn with the panel and host. Make your stand, no hidden levers. Raise your glass to reason's thrill. No ancient text, it's our own will. Debate till dawn with the panel and host. Saturday night, we'll hold it dear. Raise your glass to reason's thrill. No ancient text, it's our own will. Debate till dawn with the panel and host. Saturday night, where we love toast. Echoes of the godless choir. Like the world, let's spark the fire. Free thought mindset to inspire. No holy walls to take us higher. No holy walls to take us higher.
There we go. Everything went off. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Saturday Night at the Atheist, where we've got a bunch of atheists, minus one. Mike's having a little mic problem. So on and off with the mic thing there. And
Yeah, Mike always has mic problems.
Mike and his mic.
That's Mike, but yeah, he is a problem.
But we
And
did
we call
have
that a mic problem.
Robin here, bright and early. Early bird gets the worm, right, Robin?
Yes, the worms. The worms are all mine.
And Scott and Simos are both here, and like I say, Mike was here. He's having some mic problems, so hopefully we get him worked out.
He said his mic is DOA.
Is DOA. That brand new mic is DOA? Gee whiz, that didn't take very long.
I was always told you got to be smarter than what you're working on.
Yeah, Mike said he's having mic issues, so but he did try to come on. Hello, everybody in the chat. Who we got here? We got Skeptic Philosophy. Fred is here. Good to see you. And I'm going to say Robin and Scott were here early. Good to see you, folks. Thanks for being here. Jasper. How you doing, Jasper? And I appreciate the emojis in the chat as well.
So the H in Jasper is silent.
I just like saying Jasper.
Yeah, Jasper. You have to go at first. I think.
Aha.
I'm not sure.
Garad. Hello. How you doing? And top dog is he in the house? Good to see you.
The big dog.
My voice is a little rough. You'll have to excuse me. I think the drugs are working out of my taste buds. So hopefully I'll have a little better taste coming up because I haven't had any RXs from them in a while. So it should be working out of my system. We're going to try Mike again. Hi, Mike.
Yeah, can you hear it now?
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Mike's
You
here.
sound wonderful.
We have
Yeah.
sound.
Yeah,
To
I
the
had,
mic,
to
Mike. Your mic's
I had
the
to
mic, Mike.
I had to restart the mic.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Mike's get from vocal fry to vocal thigh.
I am a little hoarse. I don't know that,
Oh, well, okay.
but
We call that ponying up.
Jasper says Dave got that right. Jasper for everyone else. It's Jasper. Oui. Good, good to have you here, man. Appreciate everybody. I don't know why, but my subscriptions have been dropping off the map lately. So stop it. I'm not going anywhere yet. They just made me an appointment for 3 months out. So as long as they keep making me appointments that are out far, I have more confidence in them because they want to build my insurance again. No, I do. I have some good doctors. I went for a biopsy this week. Don't be so scared of them. They aren't so bad. I didn't feel a dang thing. They did thing on my kidney, and I didn't feel nothing but the shot, the local they give you. I was impressed. The way they're doing stuff now, it's. I mean, you're going to get some pokes and prods, but overall, I mean, I can't imagine what surgeries used to be like. Where they cut you all up and big old knives and big needles, and then now they've got all this micro stuff. But we'll let you sit here, make sure you're not groggy. And you can go home, and reading up on it. They're talking about a hospital stay, and because they're jabbing your guts and everything. And I'm like, oh crap! And some of the worst sounding things have turned out to be not so bad after all. The medical community's come a long way. And the doctors, nurses are all good folks, and so everything went well this week. I had an MRI last week. All my scans of my head were good. The big ugly hasn't come back, and the couple of tiny spots that were there haven't done anything. So the radiologist said, "See you in 3 months." So there was good news there, and they're going to check the rest of my stuff next week with a CT, make sure everything's okay in my chest and everything. Because, for all the things supposed I got wrong with me, I don't have any of the symptoms. I'm not coughing or wheezing or, there's just nothing there. So I wanted to see what's going on. My head's okay. That's, good news there. I just want to make sure that my guts are okay. And get my voice back might be pretty normal.
As normal as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I've been lucky. I didn't lose very much hair. My hair did thin out. I was, losing a lot in my comb, but it never came out in, a large amount or anything like that. I didn't lose facial hair or. The only thing I seemed to lose was some hair on my legs, which...
That's weird.
Yeah, it was like, they were all real short, like they got burned off,
So I was at a gasoline fire when I was 17 years old, and my hair never grew back on my chest.
Yeah, you get
I
that,
have
you get that singe going.
3 hairs, maybe.
I've been trying to take a walk around the cul-de-sac. We live on a cul-de-sac, so I've been trying to take a walk around, and my legs are real heavy. But I do on nice days. I go out and get some fresh air, take a little walk. If I'm just dragging, and I know part of it is my diet sucks because I'm eating, basically the same things, and I'm not having a good diet, so I know that's part of it. And then the not sleeping thing with the steroids and everything. Steroids, they're good and they're bad. And then even when I'm done, I got a couple weeks to wean off of them. So you always add time on for steroids, and it's just no fun. Because I'll fall asleep in a chair, I go to lay down, and I toss and turn in bed. So it really sucks. I wish I would just get over most of these side effects, and I'd be a happy camper, I think. But the side effects are kind of what comes with the drugs and everything. So, you can't really win there. Hello, Ryan. How you doing? So, but as far as I am right now, everything was looking good upstairs. They still have to look at my chest. No tumors. The big ugly that had me all dizzy and not right and alerted me to being something wrong in the first place, none of that has shown its ugly head. So that's good news. And the biopsy on my kidneys went well. Don't be afraid of them. They've got it down to a quote science. I mean, you got to give it to them. But didn't hardly feel a thing. I thought it was going to be awful. Go get it done. Yeah, have them check you out. I had a little Band-Aid on there, and that was it. I mean, big deal. So go get your shit checked. I got a week or whatever to find out about that. But they thought it was all the side effect from the immunotherapy. So I haven't had any of that, and I haven't had any chemo since January. The drugs were out in January. And I'm hoping that I can get some of this stuff out of my mouth, because having a yuck mouth, it really gets old. Things don't taste good, it gets old. So I've been feeling pretty good, except for my legs just drag. My legs, lead legs. Like they're made out of lead, like just dragging. And that part really bothers me. But I've been trying to be good. Told myself I'm gonna drink some juice. Still doesn't taste really good. I watered it down a little bit. But I'm trying. I'm really trying. My weight is up, but my pants are falling down. Somebody explain it to me. I guess I lost it in the behind or something. But I was 192 holding my coat and everything. But about 190 pounds. Usually I'm in the 180s. So I put on some weight. But my pants are loose. I haven't figured that one out. So, anyway, mostly good news. As long as they keep booking me months out in advance, I'm not as worried. I told Simos, I like when they gave me an appointment 6 weeks, 3 months out. At least they know they're planning on seeing me then. If I could just get some energy, I would be, except for being a little bit wired with the steroids. That's the only problems I've had. So, Simos, how's the news from your doctors? They giving you the green lights?
Yeah, I haven't really had any because they said see you in 4 weeks.
Good.
So that's good. All my levels came back normal, so that's excellent. And I've just been chilling out, really. Not sleeping well, but like you say, the steroids and stuff makes you all a bit funny sometimes.
Isn't it? You want to lay down and get some rest, but you can't get any rest. But if you sit in a chair, you'll nod off in a chair. It's
in
it's
2 minutes.
peculiar.
As soon as I sit in front of the computer, I fall asleep or want to, and I think, oh, okay. So I switch the computer off, go in, lie down, and then go, Okay, I can't sleep. And then when I do, it's only for an hour. And I get back up, come on, switch the computer on,
That
watch it for
sounds like
half an
me.
hour,
Yeah,
switch it off, go back to bed. It's
because
just horrible.
I'll do that, and I'll pop on, and Tacos will be on, and he'll be on all night or something. I'm like, gee whiz, I slept and everything, and come back, and he's still going. And then I realized, well, I was only out for an hour or two. And then you don't. You get the restless legs, and you just, I just got to get up
Yeah.
because laying there is just suck.
Yeah, Tacos had a rough week. Yeah, this week.
I heard that.
He got demonetized.
Really? For what?
We're not really sure that the YouTube said something about AI content or something. I'm not sure. But they just came in and
That's
demonetized him, and so he has to wait 90 days to reapply. So there was a couple of days. One day, B.S. Lewis ran the stream on his channel, and Tacos went back on his channel last night we had a mega bloodbath debate. But he's having to do all the donations through Ko-Fi and PayPal and stuff until his monetization gets redone.
He does use a lot of AI.
Well, a lot of people do. So
it really didn't make any sense. We didn't really it's like it seems like there may be just some kind of YouTube bots they send around every so often that strike the channel over certain things. I don't know.
yeah.
Well, and he gets a lot of controversial people on, and I'm guessing something was said on stream that kind of went the by.
Well, that was
would be my
what
guess.
they said was that his content was what was it? Something like it had no value or something like that, or something like. That's pretty.
Yeah.
We did, but he has.
Hard to disagree from my perspective, but there you go. He's not really an atheist, right? I'm gonna pull the no true atheist card.
Yes,
Just as a joke, mind you, but nonetheless.
I got something to try there. Ember.
Oh, okay.
Anybody ever heard of it?
What the hell is that?
It's like a one berry, one gummy thingy at a time. There's only 8 in a package. It's $18. But you put one in your mouth, and within 15 minutes, for up to 2 hours from then, after it dissolves, it sweetens up your mouth. It flavors your mouth.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try that when I eat. So if anybody's got any experience with it, let me know. They're not cheap. I just got a little package to try them. But they were recommended by my one doctor's pretty cool, talking about partying and catch a buzz and have something to eat. I was like, you was a cool old hippie, wasn't you? So they don't have any problem with me trying these things that enhance your food or whatever. Hello, Gio. How you doing? Good to see you.
Yeah, hi, Gia.
So if anybody's got any experience with berries, let me know.
Wasn't that a South Park thing or something?
Emberry? Might be.
Memberries. I think those were memberries.
Memories, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
Memberries. But the only instructions are let it dissolve on your tongue.
Oh my God! So I think it makes sour food taste sweet.
Yeah, it flavors. Flavors your taste buds for a couple of hours. So anyway. Yeah, if anybody's got experience with them, I did buy a little pack and we'll give them a try. One of the doctors.
You haven't tried them yet?
It. I just got it in the
try
mail.
them. We'll try them now.
Like I have something to eat.
Oh, okay.
So that's the idea: is you take it, shortly or while you're making something to eat or getting something to eat, whatever. Because
I think you should test them live on stream. I think that would be great. I don't know.
they're too pricey. I'm gonna make them count.
See,
They're $2 and something a piece.
damn.
Because there's what eight of them, and for $18 or something like that. They're like, they're not just to be eaten. Keep them out of.
I think I'm gonna go buy a pound of blueberries and dry them and sell them as miracle berries for $3 a piece.
Nice.
See how long I can get away with that.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that was my news, and then I'm checking my email before we get started here today, and Dan had sent me an email from word that he got through Dr. Joel, I think, that Gabby is no longer at AIG. Their leading paleontologist from Brazil, and I don't knock her for not speaking good English, but she doesn't speak good English.
Now she's not from the U.S. of A., right? So I wonder if
Brazil.
they got rid of her because she's an immigrant.
She's from Brazil. She's her University of Brazil or whatever it's called is where she went, and she's over to ICR, not AIG.
What does ICR stand for?
Institute for Creation Research.
Hang on a minute.
That's where Ken Ham started. That's where Nathaniel was over there, and then he came over. A lot of them came over to AIG from ICR, but she's going backwards. She went.
Kind of wish you had asked, don't you?
Chasing the big bucks, I would imagine.
I have no idea. One of the things she was doing was the Answers News, and they eliminated that from the show. They aren't doing that anymore.
They probably got rid of all the DEI hires.
And I'm not faulting anybody for not knowing another language good, but to be a speaker, she doesn't do well as a speaker because she's got such broken English, right? So she's always, what do you call it? So she's not the best speaker for AIG either. So
I'm sure that makes her very unpopular with their fan base.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have thought so, no.
And it's not faulting anybody. I'm not faulting anybody. I'm just saying not everybody's got a good speaker type voice.
What's her name again?
Gabriella
Haynes.
Yeah.
She does a thing on Kids Answers or something.
She's a
Kids Answers.
Some kind of paleontology thing.
Did you say Keynes? K with a K?
Haynes. H.
Haynes, no, with an H.
Haynes.
Yeah, like hay, like a cow eats hay.
No, like the pantyhose. Haynes pantyhose.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Like what?
Haynes pantyhose.
So through
okay.
Dr. Joel, keeping tabs, telling Dan, sending me an email, I found out Gabby isn't with AIG anymore, and I never really cared for her, not because of who she is or anything, but the stuff she says is just really goofy. I mean, she knows everything as a student that the teachers never knew, and all. She is really full of herself. So, all in all, not the best speaker. So goodbye, Gabby. Over to ICR. So there we go. That's the news.
Okay, biology teacher. Maybe that's her. Maybe not.
Yeah, she does bullshit for kids too. She's got a website for that.
Right.
I just want to say that
So-
pretty much everything they all say is goofy.
Yeah, she's done at AIG. So now we'll go to we've got a video to look at. It's not very long if we let it actually play. He's got eight things that Christians want atheists to know. In other words, we have them wrong. So we're going to see, and we'll try to get through 8.
8 things. Okay.
8 things.
I think that's a bit ambitious, Dave.
I know.
If you're asking me, just personally, I think
We're
atheists. We're atheists, or at least I'm an atheist. I'm not sure you guys are atheists, but I'm an atheist, and I'm not sure I could get through 8. That's quite a number, 8.
Yeah, it's not too long, but it doesn't say much for us.
It's less than 10.
Yeah, I will be referring to everybody except me as an atheist. Everybody.
I kept wanting to say 6
as a non-atheist. I will be referring to people as non-atheists because I know none of you are Scottish. So that's my logic.
Scottish.
And
I'm Scottish.
Okay, yeah. Well, I don't think you're a true Scotsman, though. To be honest with you, Dave.
My surname is my name is 700 years in Scotland. So.
Okay. Wait, is that Jock? Is it or something?
Huh?
It's okay. I'm ramping up the comedy. That's all I'm doing. I'm starting strong.
My grandfather came over from Scotland, so that's the homeland. That's as close as I get. The other ones were already here.
Yeah, I mean,
everybody else was here.
Just because he was from Scotland doesn't mean he was Scottish, though.
No.
I am literally going to be making no true Scotsman fallacies all the show long. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So just to let you know.
So yeah, I came across this guy. I forgot who to compare him to. There's it's like these other shows you see where the guy stands there and he names these things out. But he's going to throw 8 things at us, and we're going to grade them, I guess, and see what he has to say. And it better not be for $3.50.
Have you ever argued with someone, not over what they actually...
Stop it there. Okay. I've got to say straight away, what does he mean by argued? I mean, what, has he never had a wife or a girlfriend? I mean, have you ever argued with somebody? Really? Really? Is he a human being? I don't think he's a real human being. He's not a true human being. If he thinks that's a way to start a sentence. Go ahead.
Believe, but over what you think they believe, it happens all the time. We hear a simplified version of an idea.
That's why it was a stupid question. That's why it was a stupid question, because it happens all the fucking time.
And I don't think that's ever happened to me.
I never.
Things, but...
Thank you. I never argue about what they actually believe. I always argue about what I think they actually believe. That's how I am as a person, I think. Anyway,
we're kind of stuck with that, actually.
Yeah.
Assume it's accurate, and then attack that instead of the real thing. That's called a straw man.
That's called a straw man.
Yes, a straw man. This is an improvement. This is
I smell straw man.
Yeah,
I smell straw man.
I don't think it's a real straw man, though. That's
and he can make even
no true Scotsman joke there.
Intelligent conversations go nowhere fast. When it comes to Christianity, this happens a lot.
That's because you're a
creationist. Many people end up rejecting.
Yeah, Christians are right. So.
Yeah, no, that's because you're a creationist. That's why your arguments go nowhere fast.
I love straw men.
Yeah, everything happens fast for a creationist because they got to pack everything into 6,000 years. So.
Less than 10 at least. Yeah.
Something that Christians themselves wouldn't even recognize, and that's a problem, because you can't understand or fairly critique what you've never truly heard. So in this video, I want to clear away some of those misunderstandings. I'm going to share 8 facts Christians wish skeptics understood. Things that if you grasp them...
You got that, right? 8 things.
Yes. Hey, that almost hit me. I don't know what it was, but it's like a slap across the face.
Is that 8 things?
I'm not going to be serious today, you can tell.
Will give you a much more accurate picture of what Christians actually believe. And if you stick with me to the end, I'll share a 9th fact.
Okay, pause it. I got something to say. Like I said before we started, what he's going to say, what people are going to say here, I think most atheists here probably have heard before and understand about Christianity, or they're going to be saying stuff that applies to a particular denomination or tradition of Christianity, but might be actual things that are believed by other denominations of Christianity that aren't this guy. So we kind of have to be skeptical of what he's saying from the get-go, because he can't represent all of Christianity. And he may address that here coming up, but that's just kind of my gut feeling, my prediction about these 8 so-called facts.
Yeah, I think what he means by when he says, I think he's equivocating on the word facts here. I think what he means is he received a fax mail from somebody. His fax machine went off, and on it had these 8 points. I don't think he's literally saying these are real things. I think he's just saying I got this through the fax machine, and that's how he's using the word fax.
Ah, okay.
Important one of all. Fact number 1. Christians aren't anti-intellectual.
Yeah. It depends who you're talking to.
If he's including apologists in there, then he's wrong, because apologists are not intellectuals.
Yeah, well, you can be a scientist and be one of these Christians that believes in some of these extreme theories they have, without proclaiming them to be true. I guess more in the text, in the parables, but not literally true. Not like these guys are taking them. So you got a range there.
I would say most of them are pseudo-intellectual.
Right.
Well, Christians aren't anti-intellectual. They want to be intellectuals, but they fail.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
I would say they're not true intellectuals.
Not true intellectuals, yeah. And they're not true. Well, are they true anti-intellectual? No.
No, well, they can't be if they're not intellectuals.
Right.
Not true intellectuals anyway,
They
years
try.
ago, I was watching, I think it was the Dick Cavett show. I used to love the Dick Cavett show, and this was like when I was
Cavett show, yes.
And he had some British guy on there, and I don't know who he was. I can't recall, but he basically stated that he doesn't think actors can be intellectuals, and that, which to me begged the question: well, what the heck is an intellectual then? You have very smart people who are intellectuals who also happen to act, but I wonder if this guy goes on to define what an intellectual is.
He has not ever met Stephen Fry.
I've got to find out who that is. I really do.
The original video's in the description. So.
One common misconception of Christianity is that Christians are encouraged not to think for themselves.
Correct. It kind of says that in the Bible. It's supposed to follow what the Bible says, not what man says or something like that.
Lean not on your own understanding.
Right. I mean, kind of sabotaged yourself. It says right in your book, don't believe your eyes and ears, basically, and believe the book. So, yeah, you're not doing very well.
It is often claimed that this is because Christian leaders know their beliefs won't hold up to intellectual scrutiny.
Correct. He's making it too easy.
But nothing could be further from the truth. God invites us to reason together, Isaiah 1 and verse 18.
Yeah, where were you when I laid down the foundations of the earth and everything? And,
I want to see that
God has an
invitation.
attitude too.
I think the "Come Now, Let Us Reason Together" should be done in a one of those Italian American kind of accents. And
So reason
basically
together.
say it'd be ashamed if something were to happen to, and you'd end up in hell, because it basically says, "I'll do good things for you, but I'll also beat the shit out of you as a nation."
Right.
Is what this passage is going on to say. So it's not really reason, as in here are some of the hallmarks of being an intellectual: abstract thinking. Have you really met too many Christians that are capable of that? Critical reasoning, knowledge for its own sake, rationality, and those are the key factors of it. And that's not what Isaiah 1:18 is demonstrating.
Hello, Theo. How
You
you
have an
doing?
equivocation fallacy, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Good to see you in the chat over there. Hello, Theo. Yeah, and well, we can play the Bible game all night long. I mean, you're going to find something, and I'm going to find something that counteracts it. And that's the problem. Is there's any direction you want, you can probably find a verse that'll sort of back you up on it.
Right. I found out, Scott, was it Laurence Olivier?
Was he the one who said that? Okay, maybe he did. I
But
don't remember the guy looking like him, but it could have been. You know, like I said, it's been so long.
yeah. I think he's the only British one. George C. Scott is definitely. I mean, Marlon Brando, he's American. Oh, Peter O'Toole, Irish British actor. Anyway, there we go. I was just fascinated because I used to love the Dick Cavett show.
Oh,
He used to
yeah.
interview some really great people.
He was a witty guy. I think he used to write for the Johnny Carson show as well.
Okay. Interviewed Muhammad Ali. Did a brilliant interview with Muhammad Ali and Jimi Hendrix and John Lennon and George Harrison.
The Hebrew word used here has the idea of laying out the relevant facts and thoughtfully arriving at the proper conclusion. Similarly, the first century spread of Christianity was due in no small part to the intellectual approach of Christians. For example, in Acts 18 and verse 4, Paul reasoned in the synagogue every Sabbath and tried to persuade Jews and Greeks. Paul was presenting his audience with the facts of the matter. He was crafting arguments that appealed to their minds
Oh my.
and persuaded them to the truth of Christianity. In fact, many of the best arguments for Christianity are of an intellectual nature. Classical arguments for
Are they really? No, really.
No.
Okay, the guy that you maybe invited into your house to try to sell you aluminum siding, was he being intellectual? Because he would use words to try to persuade you to buy their product, and I don't think that counts as intellectualism. So the same thing could be said for an evangelist or an apologist. They're trying to persuade you, but that's what, they're using rhetoric. That's not intellectualism.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little bit on this guy's side here, actually, because Paul tries desperately to use Greek philosophy to hold up his positions. He desperately tries. He gets a lot of it wrong, but like in Titus, was it 1:10 or something like that?
Well, he essentially failed at it, and so doesn't that mean he gave up on being an intellectual?
Well, no, I don't think so, because he went to Ephesus first, and then obviously he went to Athens, right? Mars Hill. So I guess he was trying to hang around with intellectual people, but he just didn't he wasn't a deep enough thinker. I mean, I guess, right? Because he said something like, so the one in Titus I was referring to there was, a Cretan told me all Cretans were liars. Therefore, all Cretans are liars, which is about as, yeah. Anyway, there you go. I mean, take that for what you will. If you think that because a Cretan told you all Cretans are liars, then that means all Cretans are not liars if the Cretan is lying.
Now I'm going to get a headache and have to take Tylenol.
There you go. Paul will do that to you. Paul will do that to you.
I want to get back to this Isaiah 118 thing and this use of the word reason. And actually, this the new international version. I don't want to use that one. Let me see if I can find a more acceptable version. This is the new revised standard updated version. Come now, let us argue it out, says the Lord. If your sins are like scarlet, will they become like snow? If they are red like crimson, will they become wool? If you are willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. But if you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured by the sword, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. That's not the same thing.
That's really interesting, actually, because there's that word sword. Jesus said, I come not to bring peace, but a sword.
Yep.
And I don't know what it means, but I've heard several really wacky interpretations of what the sword is. Something like to divide the Christians from the non-Christians or some shit. But that's an interpretation of sword, I guess.
I think that's the Tony Soprano version of reasoning.
And there you go.
Money for some swords.
Yeah, I've come not to bring peace, but to divide the horse from its head.
Nice.
Tony Soprano version. I mean, I guess it's not. That's the Godfather, isn't it? Yeah.
How you doing there, Sandals? And what we got? Roman Catholics exposed.
His sandal says, "Bring peas."
And peas.
Yeah.
Don't forget the peas.
Yeah, peas is
Theism, like the cosmological, teleological, and moral,
Oh,
all invite us to apply reason and logic to the nature of the world around us.
no, it goes to presupposition first, but yeah, okay.
Yes.
The true believer has done so and is convinced in their mind that God is the best explanation
Right.
for the reality we experience.
And that's what's anti-intellectual, is that they think
Yes.
that God is a good explanation for anything.
It's already a presupposition.
Or they're convinced in their mind that that's the best explanation, not by
No,
the evidence.
That it is an explanation. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not an explanation. The fact that
No.
they think it's an explanation is what's anti-intellectual about it, because it's not an explanation.
But the convincing should come from outside their mind by the evidence, not what's in their mind.
Okay.
That's kind of
Yeah,
like
maybe.
presupposition.
Yeah, I mean, yes. It should be based upon the evidence, but obviously it still comes from their mind. I mean, but yes, I understand. Yeah.
Hello, you are Victoria. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Yeah, anyway.
Fact number 2. Christians
Number 2. Did he say
Oh,
number 2?
dear.
Uh-oh. Buckle up.
Oh,
aren't anti-science.
yeah. Let me
Understanding the
Let me say something. Yeah. They're not anti-science, but they are obviously, they've evolved to be non-anti-science.
Yeah, it's a lot of cherry picking going on.
They love science that doesn't disagree with their conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, they
Right.
love science when it's Greek, which just means
Yeah.
knowledge.
As long as they get to define science, then they're
Yeah.
pro-science. But
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, Roman Catholics here. Welcome, Roman Catholic.
Roman Catholic, how you doing?
I think is that. Did we talk the other day, or did I hear you in somebody's? Yeah, no, I think you were in that. Let me just check. I think you were in the Matt Slick call, weren't you? With yeah, Roman Catholic. I think you were in. Welcome. If you got any questions, please engage. if we say something wrong. I just got to say to you though, this is more of a what's the word I'm looking for? Humorous look rather than a serious critique. But I'm sure if you put in atheists like to convey, exactly, we do like to convey. We're deliberately doing it in this case because it's funny. So please don't take us too seriously. But if you put stuff in chat, I'm pretty sure you'll get some pushback on a more serious level than certainly I'm going to talk about. And obviously,
Robert's
I'd love to refer to you, Roman Catholic, as a Catholic, but you might not be a true Catholic. So that's another joke for you. Go ahead.
Christians' attitude towards science requires us to define what we mean by science. Many equate science with macroevolution and naturalism. And
No, science is just investigating things.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely say science is equated with evolution, or evolution by natural selection, I should say.
And isn't like methodological naturalism like kind of the base? Yeah.
I mean, not strictly speaking, but yeah, like, you know, until you can prove the supernatural, it's presumed not to be included as genuine explanations. So yeah, you could call that methodological naturalism, I suppose. I would just call it naturalism, but that's fine.
How you doing there, Rochelle? Good to see you.
Christians do reject those philosophies.
Oh, go ahead.
But at its heart, science is merely acquiring knowledge by observing the natural world. Christians...
Just say no, you know, evolution by means of natural selection is not, I repeat, a philosophy.
Thank you. I was getting ready to say
it's an actual science in biology. I mean,
yeah,
it's part of biology, so you can't really say it's biology is definitely science. Mike, what would you say on this subject quickly?
First of all, methodological naturalism is just looking for the natural causes before you look for anything else. It's trying to figure out how something may have happened with the physics that we know. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And what was the other question?
What about science? Do you think evolution or macro evolution, is that what he said? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Macro adaptation or something is a philosophy and not a science.
It's a science.
There we go. You heard it here.
Yeah. You want to sound like an anti-science person without claiming to be an anti-science person? Use the term macro evolution seriously.
He just did it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's observing, so just like this dude's doing.
And
he's observing this thing poofing out and sending all the seeds out, and lo and behold, the little trail of seeds is where the things grow in your yard. So it's good observation, and this is the stuff that they like and they don't like at the same time.
You know, if running 100 yards is analogous to microevolution, then running a marathon would be analogous to macroevolution. You can do both using the same method, and that's what evolution is. It's changing species by a whole bunch of smaller steps along the way, smaller mutations or adaptations or whatever you want to call them. You get to new species, changes in the body plan of a creature. A creature's descendants, I mean. So, yeah, it's a dumb thing to say that macroevolution is a philosophy and not a science.
Yeah, also it's a dumb thing to say because there's no distinction between the two. Those are just made up terms by people who don't understand the theory of evolution.
Very much approve of this type of science. In fact, the Bible commands it. Great are the works of the Lord. studied by all who delight in them.
Very,
Well, I mean,
very
that's
loose
begging the,
wording.
it's kind of begging the question, right? Assuming that they are works of the Lord. So
If it's
Right.
something really great, then yay, right? If it's not,
if
not-
that
if
was
it's
an
not-
argument.
yeah. If it's not so great, well, there's not a lot of praise going on.
Yeah, it's one reason why we don't count miracles as science.
Yeah.
Psalm 111, verse 2. The more we learn about the natural world, with its size, grandeur, and complexity, the more we are awed by God who created it. Christianity is enhanced by the discipline of science. What is more, whether they realize it or not, all scientists begin with a theistic worldview. How so? A key aspect of science is repeatability. To be considered science rather than
Tag.
superstition,
He's going to do a tag here.
Somebody say
repeat it.
something about
Yeah.
that right there, the theistic worldview. Not like absolutely the most completely backwards statement that you could make about science.
Well, you know how in the Star Trek, the original series, you had the character Chekhov, who would always make a joke about Russians inventing this and the Russians inventing that. That's kind of what he's trying to do here is, just claim, well, it's a Christian thing that things have to be repeatable. Well, no, that's a scientific thing. That's a methodologically sound thing. And if the guys that came up with that principle were Christians, that doesn't mean it's a Christian idea.
phenomenon must be shown to occur in the same way given the same circumstances. There is an assumption of order in all science. But chaos and chance do not produce order.
Oh, Christ.
Oh, there's,
You are wrong with that. I mean, that's
Yeah.
actually wrong statement.
hello, Fallon. How you doing? Yeah,
Hey,
chaos and chance
so,
do not produce order. Yes, they do.
Yeah, can you show Robert's statement here? It said people studied them. That's the one at 453. I think that's a really good point.
This one
Yeah,
as not a commandment. It is sad people smashed babies on rocks. Is that a commandment also? Yes. So that's what I say. The book has good and bad for anything you want.
Well, we know they don't know the commandments. Like very few of them can name the commandments.
well, see, this is kind of
It's very
a
confusing.
tendency of Christians, not all Christians, but I see it happen a lot, to take a phrase or a few words even from the Old Testament or even the New Testament that were directed towards an individual and make it a command or a truth for everybody. Like when one of the prophets was being addressed, before you were born, I knew you, or something like that. I'm not good with spontaneous quotes. They take that as an argument against abortion, indicating that God knows everybody before they're born. When that passage doesn't say that, it just says that about Jeremiah or maybe Isaiah. That, okay, I knew you and called you long before you were ever born. That doesn't mean, that's not saying that God knows everybody or called everybody before they were born. That's a specifically tailored statement for that one particular individual, and it's turned into some principle or doctrine that opposes abortion, and it's baseless.
Yeah. Also to say, this is false. This statement on the screen here is false. Chaos and chance do not produce order. That's straightforwardly false, right? Given the law of large numbers, chance can produce order, and chaos, I mean, depending on your definition, mathematically chaos always produces order. right? But yeah, maybe you need a better understanding of maths if you think that that's not true. And as I say, given the law of large numbers, then chance is
Thank
always
you to
going to be
allegedly Fred. You found a better quote from Psalm 139:13 here, where you created my inmost being, you knit me together in my mother's womb. Well, if that's supposed to be written, by David, David's talking to God about what God did for him. That's not a statement about everybody else in the whole world. Now, you can use your exegesis, also known as exegesis, and try to make a case for anti-abortion. But a lot of the statements that are used to justify that position are taken from verses, which are meant for individuals. And the principles of interpretation of Christianity are full of fallacies. So no wonder you have so many fallacious Christians, fallacious doctrines, fallacious sermons going on out there, plus just natural human laziness and trying to prove a point.
Atheist says, "Ew, imagine being a Christian." We're trying to figure that out.
I don't have to imagine. I have to remember, but I don't have to imagine.
Yeah, well, if you fell out of faith, then were you ever a Christian? I mean,
I've had that said a few times.
not a true Christian,
Scotsman.
clearly, but
Apparently not.
I'm just going to keep saying it. Don't worry, all stream long, you're going to get like, were you really a true
Scotsman?
Simos, here's a merchandising idea. Start selling No True Scotsman kilts.
Yeah.
I
am gonna.
All of y'all could wear them on one live on Saturday night.
Oh boy.
To search for order is to search for purpose, reason, intent, and design. Traits of an intelligence rather than happenstance.
Whoa.
Just
More-
maybe
more-
a couple of those. Maybe a couple of those, but not all of them.
Yeah, more wrong BS here.
Okay, yeah. You want to talk about straw man? Okay, like which of us claim that the universe came about through happenstance?
That's
None of us.
there's a lot of straw men that atheists believe all this and that and everything else. It's like atheists just don't believe your stories. As far as origins of the universe and everything and stuff, they kind of rely on what the cosmologists find out. I mean, that's why we have all these space telescopes and deep probes and everything else going on. And you kind of got to rely on their data, right?
I'm beginning to really like Telemann. Is that Italian BZ? No True Scotsman. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that, Scott. Do you like that, Scott?
I like it. I'm sorry, I couldn't find my unmute button. I like it.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to form a No True Scotsman bagpipe band.
Well, no, that's your merch, right?
We'll play
Just
tubas.
I'm a No True Scotsman.
But we'll play tubas because that's not a true Scottish instrument.
My merch is going to have the Nike. I don't know if you can see that. The Nike sign with "Just Done It" with Simos Funk.
There you go.
There you go.
Going to be mine.
Why then are Christians caricatured as anti-science?
Because
your serious
deny
spokesmen are anti-science.
Yeah, they deny things in every field of science. That's the problem. They say they're not anti-science, but you can't point out a field and they go,
Yeah, it's a matter of who are we talking about here once again. There are Christians who have no problem with the theory of evolution, with science, and other matters. Then there are Christians who, just reject science. You know, they're
Like him.
anti-intellectual in that just because a scientist with a PhD says it doesn't mean that I'm wrong when I say that vaccines don't work or vaccines are dangerous. I hope we don't get banned for me using the word vaccine, but you know, yes, most people without the PhD are not going to be qualified to make statements about immunology and how it works, or to analyze papers that talk about the efficacy and the, you know, and the side effects of such things, you know. But yeah, when you're going around saying those highfalutin scientists don't know nothing, you're probably an anti-intellectual, an anti-science person.
He's already denied evolution. So,
Well, you said it was a philosophy, so
yeah.
oof.
Primarily because they recognize the limitations of science. The discipline of science is rooted in observation. When a phenomenon cannot be observed, like the origin of the universe or the beginning of life,
There you go. Is beginning of life and the beginning of the universe cannot be observed. So if you weren't there, it didn't happen. Right?
Oh, so yeah. I'm guessing he, you know, like is denying Adam as well, Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. By that very logic,
Yeah.
he wasn't there, so he can't know that.
That's Ken Hams of always falls back on. Were you there? Were you there? And it's like you weren't there either. So
No. We couldn't believe in anything past, I couldn't believe in anything prior to 1968, if that was our rules.
Oh, welcome,
but
welcome, Kurt. Go ahead, Mike.
God was there, and God wrote it down, so God was their eyewitness. So,
Yes.
yeah, which is
How'd
a
you
little
know-
a little
how'd you know-
circular.
Yeah,
a little
somewhat.
bit.
How'd you know God? How'd you know God was there? Because you weren't there.
Because he wrote it down. He said he was there. So, yeah,
He wrote it down. Okay.
he wrote it down. It's in the Bible.
Yep, sure. Shame we
Let's
don't
read
have
the
the
Bible.
original. Shame we don't have
Simon.
the original. Hey, Kurt. Nice to see you, mate.
Good to have
I've got to
you.
explain to Kurt because I'm going to be claiming everything is a no true Scotsman fallacy. This hangout, Kurt. By
Has
the way.
been.
events
Okay.
which only happen once.
No,
Watch
sorry, I was just doing a Scots impersonation.
Uh oh. Watch out.
Once, with no humans around to observe them, science cannot definitively tell us what happened. The best science can do
Oh, okay.
is
just stop
offer.
that. Okay, I just want to say, definitive is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that
Yes.
sentence.
That's true.
Okay, I mean, I don't think he understands what the actual definition of definitive is, but nonetheless, carry on.
Hello, Ed.
Hello, Ed. How you doing? All hail Bigfoot. All hail that Fang. Hope you're having a good night.
Theories that are consistent with what is presently seen. If the theory matches current observations, it might be correct, but that doesn't prove what happened. What is more, if our assumptions about the past conditions are incorrect in any way, our conclusions will be incorrect as well.
Nope, that's not
see.
true. That
Okay.
doesn't follow at all.
I got my Bigfoot shirt on today. My Bree Bigfoot shirt. So Bigfoot must be real because I've got the shirt on.
And this guy wonders why that Christians are considered anti-intellectual.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds silly.
Yeah, it doesn't follow just because you get your argument wrong that the conclusion is necessarily wrong. I mean, that's how logic works, right? I could make I think it's Plantinga says all arguments for God could fail, but God could still exist. There you go. Nothing more to say, really.
Simply, science cannot conclusively prove what happened in the past. So, no, Christians are not anti-science.
Having
Yes,
just
yes and no.
proved that they're anti-logic.
Astronomers look back in time. Technically, they look back at distant starlights and stuff, and they're looking back in time.
What if you're just
They've got a pretty good handle on how things are.
What if you're just really, really bad at science? Doesn't that make you anti-science? Not because you're against science, but because you're just if you're influencing people with attitudes and ideas about science, and you're just woefully wrong, then you're working against science, and so you're anti-science.
Yeah, and he wanted to bring up straw men, and nothing in the scientific method says it can conclusively prove anything. That's not it's not anything that science actually, strives to do.
Right.
Also, he said he did say something anti-science, or scientific at least. Anyway, he said macroevolution is a philosophy.
Yes.
Just saying. So
They
if you're
simply
calling us-
realize that science is incapable of answering many of life's most important questions. For questions like, where did we come from? Why are we here? And where are we going? Something more than science is needed. Fact number 3. Christians
Number 3.
Oh, we're already at number 3. I think we're going to do this, guys.
We're going to do this.
Come on. We can do this.
All right, let's plow through. Number 3. So far, you haven't convinced me.
Christians
Blind
don't
faith.
believe in blind faith.
don't believe in blind faith. It is
Go on,
true.
then. Yeah, go on.
Really?
Explain the verse then. Explain the verse.
The Bible does say Christians walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians
Right.
5, verse 6.
Oh,
But this passage has often been grossly abused.
Grossly.
that is a great way to get hit by a bus.
Don't like that verse.
Yeah, that is a great way to get hit by a bus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
well,
context of
can we have faith is hope and things, whatever, and something evidence of the unseen? I mean,
Right.
can we quote that verse instead of being a dishonest fuckwit that says, I'm going to quote something else in the Bible that doesn't give you a definition of faith? I was speaking with Jill the other day, and he said, define faith then. And I went, oh, okay, well, the biblical definition is such and such. And he said, no, it's not. Yeah, just because it says is doesn't mean it's a definition.
Yes.
And I went, well, it kind of does, actually. What is X? That's like defining X, right? If you say
Right.
X is equal to Y, then you're literally defining X in terms of Y. I mean, I don't know. X is Y. Sounds like a definition to me.
of this statement is the Christian's hope of an eternal home in the heavens, seen in verse 1. Something no one has seen. The only way we can know it exists is by faith. So,
Right.
yes, Christians do believe realities they have not seen, but this is not the same as a blind faith.
How so?
That's
How
also-
so is it not
Well,
blind
What's the
if
difference?
you can't see it? I mean, can a blind man see evidence right in front of his
Virtually
eyes?
everyone.
No, he can't. No, he can't.
Yeah,
So
it's-
if you can't see something, then you're blind, right?
Yeah,
That's,
and just
that's how
because-
that works, right?
And just because you have faith in it doesn't make it a reality.
Well, also, even if you take this metaphorical meaning of the word see, right, or observe, right, that it's still the same if it's unseen, right? You're just using the word like operative to each other, right? Hope and things unseen or something like that. Evidence unseen. No, that's just literally saying you can't have any hold on what is the evidence. And if you can't see the evidence, then you can't draw conclusions from it.
busted, yeah, you have blind faith.
One believes in things they haven't personally seen. I've never seen a baseball pitcher throw a perfect
personally
game,
seen. There we
but
go.
I believe it has been done.
Caveat
Okay.
there. He said personally unseen. Go ahead, Mike.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Mike,
he just explained why we can infer what happened in history, and why we can infer evolution, because we haven't seen everything that we believe in. So he's basically telling us why he's wrong about the shit he said a few minutes ago. So
And about him not being anti-science.
yeah. You can infer the past from the present. We know that, and he's verifying that right now. So anyway,
There you go. Not batting very well. What's he on? Number 3 or 4? We're gonna bust through. What time?
welcome to Chris Moore and
Hello,
the
Chris.
Red Atheist as well. Thank you.
Yeah, Ed.
Excellent show last night. Ed.
Why? Because there have been thousands of witnesses who have seen such an event and told others about it. Were
Hearsay.
credible
Gotcha. Hearsay. Got it. Okay. They told others. So there we go.
People
Must be
have seen
true.
a lot of things and told a lot of people about them.
Yeah, and I've watched baseball games on TV.
Yeah.
testimony exists, all of us are willing to believe some incredible things. The Bible is credible
Are we
testimony.
really incredible things? No, not without incredible evidence. I'm not.
The documents bear all the marks of authenticity, that is, being written by eyewitnesses of the events.
Oh,
They bear
I'll take bullshit for 400, please, Dave.
No.
Just reading, just reading the New Testament in context, you can't say that it was written. The New Testament was written by eyewitnesses. You certainly can't say the Old Testament was written by eyewitnesses. So to me, that's just such a.
Yeah, I don't think is there a book in the Bible that is considered written by an eyewitness?
Ooh, I can't think of one. Well, maybe like in
Paul.
in the reign of King Uzziah, I saw the Lord, or something like that. But
Maybe Paul's writings
the
might
only
be
one, yeah.
considered sort of eyewitness, even though like some of the claims might not be. But like, if
yeah, like of course he never really claims to have seen the risen Jesus. It's kind of hard to tell whether he was having visions. And what's it mean to see a formerly dead person who appears to you? Is that an eyewitness?
Yeah. I mean, technically, he saw a light.
Yeah, I don't think he even claimed that. Did he?
And then, well, technically, he saw a light and heard the words of Jesus, although he didn't know Jesus. So how he knew that was his voice, I don't know. But also, his companions didn't hear the words. So that all just clouds a little bit of judgment on it. But he was certainly claimed to be an eyewitness of the light. So there you go. There's that. It's not credible, I don't think. But
so where does this guy get up saying there were eyewitnesses?
Say again?
Those 500 that they claim, they always want to count them as eyewitnesses.
Those were claims that there were eyewitnesses.
I know, but they always.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, that was written down by Paul, I think, again. And obviously he was told that somebody said there was 500. So it's not even like 500 people came to him and said, I saw this. Right. There you go. And of course, there are no names. Nobody checked it out. Nobody wrote it down. You would have thought that seeing somebody raised from the dead was like at least a newsworthy story in the local Gazette. I mean, you would have thought, right?
Now,
apparently not.
GeoSam asked, didn't he bump his head? And he did fall off a horse. So, you can assume that something got rattled, and it could have been from a head bump or whatever. So I don't know how that answers your question, but yeah, he had a traumatic physical injury or physical event.
Yeah. Also, just to go through what this is on the screen, right? All the biblical documents bear all of the marks of authenticity. All of the marks. I mean, that's got to be disputed. That is being written by eyewitnesses of the events. No, we don't have the originals, so how we can say that even the copies are bear testament to them being eyewitnesses is just false. They bear the marks of history, and then look at this for a caveat. Being set in a historical context and proven accurate where they can be checked.
Yeah, right.
So where they are historical, they bear the marks of history.
Yeah.
Oh, whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, the idea of authenticity of like a fictional writer wanting the setting to seem authentic, like you're authentically set in London and having a mystical sword fight with Harry Potter or something. You want the surroundings to seem legitimate and authentic, and maybe you really are in London, and the streets of London that you talk about are there, and even maybe a politician in power, is mentioned. Okay, so Harry Potter must be real, but that's not how it works, because we know that there are works of fiction, and we know sometimes there are works that people want you to believe, so they try to make it seem like it's real and authentic. So nothing he describes here can be said reliably of the New Testament or the Old Testament.
Yeah, especially the last one here, and most importantly, they bear the marks of inspiration, foretelling events hundreds of years before they occurred. Well, if they were written down hundreds of years before, then presumably the authors that wrote that they had been fulfilled knew what they were, and then maybe they interpreted them to be fulfilling. Yeah. That's not to say that they were specific enough to be those events happening. I don't think Jesus is ever mentioned. The name Jesus never mentioned in the Old Testament, right?
Well, I would say such as the foretelling of the destruction of Tyre, which still exists.
There's another one. Yeah, there's another one.
Yes.
I got to bail out, guys. I have a dinner coming up, so I got to leave early.
Well, enjoy your dinner.
Yes, Mike. Thank you very much.
Yep, see you later. And I'll be on Skeptic Philosophy tomorrow at 3 p.m. in the One True Zone, Central Time Zone, I think. And hopefully my mic will work this time. So anyway.
Okay. Good luck, Mike, with your mic.
See you later.
And also, just can I leave you with something, which is quickly just to say evolution, macroevolution is a philosophy. Just remember that.
I know. Mike. I'm going to go meditate on that. I'll see you
tell
later.
your friends.
Bye.
Talon BZ says, yay, New York isn't evidence of Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Would you believe a lot of apologists balk and go at the idea of us mentioning Spider-Man, as a counter? But, I have read many a detective novel, and one of my favorite series by, who is it, Michael Connelly, that features a detective named Harry Bosch, who is set in Los Angeles, California. And, of course, Michael Connelly worked as a journalist in Los Angeles, California. And you read those books believing that this character Bosch lives in a very authentic Los Angeles. And, fictional writers do that all the time. They want you to feel like this person could have existed, except for a few of these fictional facts, that the author wants you to believe. It's called the willing suspension of disbelief, so that you can accept maybe a flying man, or at least a hero who can beat up 12 gang members by themselves all at once. Make everything else believable, and then your audience or your readers will accept the thing that really shouldn't be accepted.
I'll use Forrest's example of Abraham Lincoln, the vampire hunter. Like there's lots of in that book. There's lots of true facts about Abraham Lincoln, and we kind of most of us agree that Abraham Lincoln actually existed. And but did he actually hunt vampires? Does that make vampires real?
Right.
You know, a good example, I guess, and I don't know if anybody's studied Sherlock Holmes as a body of literature, but you know, I don't know of anybody who doesn't think the London of Sherlock Holmes isn't authentic, and even the one character in it that is a bit larger than life, Sherlock Holmes himself, couldn't, you don't go, nah, that could never happen. Even though there are several things about the character that are out of touch with what we know about reality now, the stories and things like that. But you don't have to go to great exaggerated examples to show that just because there are historical facts contained in a book of the New Testament doesn't mean that it's authentic necessarily. And there are some unhistorical, quote unquote, facts or items laid out as facts in the New Testament, in the book of Luke, and of course in the Old Testament that you can point to. The Bible isn't historically accurate in all cases.
Interestingly enough, the person that wrote Conan Doyle was actually a medical doctor, and I think a lot of his Sherlock Holmes backstory comes from that, of being a very logical person trying to work out how things work, and like the little things that lead to showing something as causation rather than correlation. And that's what makes Sherlock Holmes such an intriguing fictional character. That's an aside. That's an aside.
The marks of history being set in a historical context and proven accurate where they can be checked. And most importantly,
Sherlock,
they bear the marks of inspiration, foretelling events hundreds of years before they occurred.
The prophecies suck. Most of those prophecies are not about way distant future things. They're about a prince that's going to be born or something like that, and you can put a lot of them a lot closer together than hundreds of years. But the prophecies in the Bible are crap. I mean, you've got some vague things that can be associated with many things in a big time span over kings and horses and everything that don't apply anymore. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, also, I've always thought that, that's why they had to have the second coming, right? Because the prophecies, right, wouldn't be true unless there was more to come, right? Because the actual life of Jesus didn't really reflect what the prophecies said. So, I mean, there you go, right?
I just want to tell Robert that an example of these prophecies are wars and rumors of wars. We all see that around us right now. So,
yeah.
Nailed it.
That's one of the funny ones for me. But,
yes, Christians believe in realities they haven't personally seen, but they do so with good reason. The reliable Word of God says so. Now, we have a...
There you go.
Yeah. No begging the question much. Oh, dear.
Video coming out soon that will cover this subject a bit more. Subscribe now so you don't miss it.
We won't.
Fact number 4. Christians are anti-sin, but that is because of love rather than hate. There are...
Yeah, well, no, that's... Yeah, that's...
slope there.
They're anti-sin because it's defined as being non-Christian.
Yeah.
Right? If you're Christian, you literally cannot be anti-sin. Right? I mean, you have to believe in sin to be a Christian. Right? So, I don't understand what this point is. Fucking stupid.
Well, he's getting ready to tell us why that it's loving to hate gay people.
In fact, under the definition of sin, God is anti-sin, right? Christians might not be, but God is, right?
Right.
I've heard a definition of sin as being somewhere where God isn't, even though he's allegedly omniscient. Just shows the ridiculous logic that some Christians go to try and make the Bible sound reasonable.
Some behaviors and lifestyles Christians are staunchly against. If the Bible condemns an action as sin, then Christians are opposed to that action. Sadly, it is true that many who claim
What isn't sinful though?
Oh,
Everybody's a sinner.
He's going to do a no true Christian fallacy.
Uh-oh.
Oh, thank you. Just wind that back 3 seconds. 3 seconds, that's all it needs. I just want to hear this in full force.
are anti-sin, but that is because of love rather than hate. There are some behaviors and lifestyles Christians are staunchly against. If the Bible condemns an action as sin, then Christians are opposed to that action. Sadly, it is true that many who claim to be following Jesus Christ have opposed those actions in a hateful way. And if you have experienced that, I am truly sorry. Hateful opposition is not what the Bible teaches. Christians are to love your neighbor as yourself, Mark 12 and verse 31.
Okay,
Yet sometimes,
love your neighbor as yourself. So, in other words, guys, just go around to your neighbors and say, could I wank you off today, please? Because I've just done myself.
Oh, God. Way you go, Simos.
Thank you. Nailed it.
I'll be here next week.
Oh, dear.
Now, the one thing I want to point out here is the basic assumption is that sin is a real thing. Sin is a religious word that has to do with religious things. I reject your religion. Why are you talking to me about a thing that doesn't exist?
Self-inflicted nonsense.
Yeah.
Hey, Let's Farm. Good to see you, mate.
Yeah.
Good to have you here.
Hello, Let's Farm.
Always.
How you doing?
And according to Christianity, we're all sinners. So, like, there is nobody that's not a sinner.
There you
Yeah.
go. That's a very good point, actually. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Including Christians.
Yeah, absolutely.
They
Why
just
would
forget
God have anything to do with the world
Yeah.
if everybody's a sinner? Any sense, does it?
times,
I suppose.
love requires us to stand against the behavior of another. Love does not
love,
rejoice
that's it.
at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. 1 Corinthians 13 and verse 6.
It can
If we
be the
allow
same,
our
though. That's not mutually exclusive, by the way.
No.
So
Who's truth? Yeah.
it's just not mutually exclusive, you know. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, like, what we can expect, though, from people who are taught that love is, I mean, look at the way Christian system is set up to teach what love is. Love is fear. Love is, obeying God. Love is sending you to hell if you don't love me back. So, like, this is abusive love, and so it's not a good prescription of love. Like, so it's no wonder that they're really confused on it.
Oh, we're about almost halfway. Are we convinced yet?
No,
Are we straw man?
I think he's going downhill every time.
Okay.
ourselves to think about it for a moment, we all understand this to be true. Imagine you had a friend who was an alcoholic.
Uh-oh.
You saw that their alcoholism was destroying their life.
Right.
Their work was suffering. Their family was falling apart, and their health was failing.
Yeah.
What would you do? Would you not condemn their behavior and plead with them to turn things around?
Yeah.
Might you even go so far as to stage an intervention, telling them, if you keep living like this, I can't be your friend anymore? And can you not see how you would take those steps out of love for them rather than hatred?
Right.
According to the Bible,
Trying to help them.
continuing in sin will result in something infinitely worse. It won't just destroy us in this life, it will destroy us in the life to come as well. Given those positions, wouldn't we expect Christians to decry sin and plead with the sinner to repent?
If I could just say something there. I mean, he may have a point here. You know, it doesn't say much for the life to come because, as we know, being an alcoholic sometimes can give you what they call brewer's droop. So, yeah, there's that. It's a Banquo joke from Macbeth, for those that want to be highbrow about it. Something like wine encourages the act, but disappoints the performance.
Wouldn't that be the loving thing to do? If you have been reproved by a Christian, please understand their motivation is love.
Yes.
And if you are a Christian who reproves another, make sure love is your motivation too.
And can I
Fact
just point
number
out
5.
that, can I, before we do 5, I've just got to say, obviously this guy has not met very many Calvinists. I'm not sure that they are acting purely out of love here.
You should
right?
talk to Jill for a little while.
I don't know. You shouldn't talk to Jill, by the way. That's something that's said in haste, I feel. But nonetheless, I appreciate your point of view. Talk to Darth Dawkins and see how much love you can get out of that conversation.
Oh my goodness. No, don't.
Yeah,
talk
there's loads of Calvinists that say this shit. You know, oh, I'm saying to this you in love because you are a sick motherfucker atheist who deserves nothing but the pits of hell. But I say that lovingly, of course.
Lovingly.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Kurt. Never waste your time talking to Jill. I did the other day, but nonetheless. Yeah, that's it, Les Fun. There's no hate like Christian love. Right, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Elise Allen.
Yeah, so did I. It's so tempting. It really is, because he's like a perfect punching bag. He really is.
Hey, Ollie. How you doing?
Hey, Ollie.
Elbows up.
I've got to say, I prefer
Yeah.
Jill over Darth Dawkins for sure.
Well, I don't know, do I? I don't know. I kind of get a rise out of getting Darth to get all fucking angry and mad and start throwing his weight around. You know what I mean? I kind of like go, oh, got him again. You know, I don't have to have an argument or anything for Darth, whereas Jill, you know, it's just a matter of you give him a great argument and he just disengages and talks about anything but the argument, you know. Anyway, there you go. That's my opinion. God's rules are for our guidance.
Yes.
Well, yeah, if you could demonstrate that God exists, then I might accept that some of the rules are given by God, but you'd have to prove that those rules are given by God first. So if you're talking about the Bible, then I'm not sure that that's necessarily God-given. Again, we don't have the originals, so who knows who wrote them, right? I mean, Moses was very careless with the first lot of God-written rules. So,
Yes, because mixing fabrics is very dangerous for your health.
it is. It is.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway,
So
there we
we're-
go. Number 5.
Number five out of 8. What time is it? Look at that.
Yeah, we're going to make it through. I'm confident we're
we
going to
can.
make it through today.
God's rules are for our guidance. There's a cartoon that shows a man jumping over a fence labeled God's commands.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, that's hilarious. Look on his face. He's got all the sweat coming off. And yet he's just jumped over a fence, which he doesn't know what's on the other side. So that's quite a lot of sweat in quite a short amount
Is
of
that
time.
Jim Bob?
Quite possibly.
That's a
And
bad
why
dream there.
Yeah, why have they put the placard on the outside of the fence rather than the inside?
Uh-huh.
Who knows? Because God's a bastard. That's why.
Yeah.
So when it's too late, you can see. Oh, those were God's commands. Oh shit! Probably on the other side. On the other side, it says God wants you to jump over here.
Whoops. Yeah, I don't care for that one. But,
I don't care for that one.
Man doesn't see is the cliff on the other side. Too late, he realized that God's commands were given as guardrails to protect him from harm.
Well, you should have put the fucking sign on the other
On the
side,
other side,
shouldn't
yeah.
he? Fuck's sake, I was one step ahead there.
Oh,
Oh
man.
my god.
Of course, he's
Get
assuming
him,
it's got a
Simos.
whole like a whole bunch of fluffy feather pillows on the bottom going on.
Yeah, it's all right. They should. I wish they'd had the Wile E. Coyote instead of a guy.
Yeah, that would work.
I don't think that one applies either. Running a little thin. What are we at, number 5? Running a little thin.
Yeah, I did see a 6 rip of Jim Blob's argument from Laws of Physics. Yeah, I've seen the Laws of Physics one myself, and I had a good laugh at it. I can tell you. Quite old, but there you go. What I did like is, speaking of which, what's the lady's name again that I'm thinking of, Robin?
What lady?
Kyla?
Kyla?
What's her name?
Not so
Kyla.
erudite. Not so
Not
erudite.
so erudite. That's it. Not so erudite. Beat up of Jim Bob.
Yeah.
I mean, Jim Bob was the most obnoxious person ever, and just goes to show you what a misogynist he is, by the way. And he got his ass handed to him 5 ways to shit.
Yes.
And
he didn't even know the 3 branches of government.
Sure. Yeah, I keep saying this to you though, that he admitted it straight away. So we
Yeah,
give
he
him a
admitted
pass
it to
on
me. She also did Andrew Wilson 9 hours and pretty much ripped him too.
that. Oh, I wouldn't recommend that one though, because that's just that's just a fucking difficult one. But the Jim Bob one, she had a lot of answers to. Every time he started a line of inquiry, within 3 or 4, she was like, "Yeah, that's not an argument, though, is it?" And he kept doing the Mott and Bailey shift. He really did. I mean, he'd say something definitive and then back off from it as soon as she started questioning it. Oh, yes, very good, very good. It's very tough to listen to though, because she should have been a little more erudite. But anyway, there you go.
Hey, Dave, can I shield just a second? Pangburn has signed Kyla, not so erudite, up to do some debates, and she is going to be debating Pearly Things on September 12th in New York City. So that should be pretty good.
Oh.
In New York.
At the Bronx. I plan to be there.
When Moses was presenting God's laws to the children of Israel, he said, "The Lord commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear the Lord our God for our good always, that
What
he
does
might
that mean?
preserve us alive."
What does that even fucking mean? For our good always? Do you mean for our good always? Right, comma, always. I don't know.
Because it's always good to fear the people you love.
That he might preserve us alive as we are this day. Okay. Well, that's saying something specific and also bullshitting at the same time. So that's interesting.
Of course.
Live
Also,
as we are
this is something I asked G-Man once. To fear the Lord. I said to him, "Do you fear the Lord, G-Man?" And he didn't answer. And went on to say some more shit. And I said, "Yeah, but G-Man, do you fear the Lord?" Yeah, and he ignored it. So I said it a third time. G-Man, do you fear the all-loving Lord? And he banned me. He blocked me and banned me from his hangout. Never answered it once until I put in all-loving Lord. And then he was like, "Oh, I'm triggered now. Oh, I'm fucking triggered now. Yeah, of course I fear the ever-loving Lord. You know." Just to show you what
Day,
nonsense.
Deuteronomy
is written in this
6,
book.
24. God's laws were given for mankind's good. We see an illustration of this in Exodus 15 and verse 26, where God said, "If you will diligently listen to the voice of the Lord your God, and do that which is right in his eyes, and give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of these diseases on you that I put on the Egyptians."
But there's a lie.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah, total fucking lie.
yeah. Just, it's terrible.
Like
Yeah, and
like
also,
like religious people don't get sick.
Yeah, it's pointing out a group that's not going to get certain things. That's pretty terrible.
well, also this is one of the ones that I used to really like, which was every time they said every time a Christian, I mean they don't do it so much these days, but every time a Christian tried to answer the problem of evil with "yeah, but free will," then I'd say what like the Pharaoh.
Yeah, yeah.
like the Pharaoh that actually said, "Okay, you can go," right? And then the Lord said, "No, not yet. I've got a couple more fucking plagues to throw at you."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, what free will? So he said you can go, and then no, you didn't accept it. Okay, mate. Yeah, well done. That's free will.
Not quite. Yeah, not quite yet.
For I am the Lord, your healer. While Moses and the Israelites wouldn't have fully understood it, we can now see how God's laws concerning diet, cleanliness, and sexuality would have protected the children of Israel from a great many illnesses.
Such as
Cleanliness.
Right.
Wait a minute. Let's go to cleanliness. I think Jesus said that you didn't have to wash your hands, right?
no, Jesus was worse. Yeah, worse than that. There was a Hebrew Israelite law that said something like you should clean like the kitchen tools before you prepare meat. That's it, though.
I'm pretty sure that Jesus said you didn't have to wash your hands.
Doesn't say, but yeah, I think that's what Jesus was referring to. So yeah, I think it might say you got to wash your hand and the tools before you prepare the meat. But Jesus said something about also. And I think you're right as well. Jesus said, "Yeah, don't wash your hands because it's not what goes in your mouth; it's what comes out of your mouth."
Yeah, apparently the Pharisees had some sort of tradition or habit of washing their hands before a meal or something like that. And they got onto Jesus because his disciples didn't do the same thing. And so that's when he did it's not what goes into a man's mouth, but what comes out. That
yeah, but they weren't using antibacterial soap or anything. It was
it wasn't about bacteria.
Yeah, it was just water. Yeah, and
I think it was more to do with because these meats are holy, right? Because they've been sacrificed in the name of the Lord. So they just want to keep them clean for the Lord. They don't want to keep them clean for any bacterial reasons.
Yeah,
so
and
when they say it's to do with cleanliness, it's not. It's not. It's to do with the holiness of the sacrifice.
Yeah, and considering the condition of water in a lot of these places, that probably was even actually more apt to make you sick from water.
Maybe. Yeah.
Similarly, imagine how much more pleasant this world would be if everyone lived by the golden rule. Whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them.
Well, I think we've been over that one. Masturbation is a big one for me. I do wish my neighbours would come round and masturbate me from time to time. But there we go. Can't have everything in life, can you? I think this is one of the worst formulations of the golden rule, isn't it?
I would like for people to leave me alone and stop telling me about their God. And so that's what I do to them.
Yeah, and that's another way it fails. Yeah, I mean, yeah, way it fails. But I think
For this,
the Chinese one is better saying, don't do to others what you would not want done to yourself, or something like that. And even that has its problems, but the golden rule is difficult to actually put into some kind of concrete thing. It's just a generalized idea of right behavior.
is the law and the prophets, Matthew 7 and verse 12. Militaries, police forces, HR departments, and most counseling centers could be disbanded because international and interpersonal problems would be a thing of the past.
What?
Not international, clearly. Not according to God's commands, if we're talking about the Old Testament.
They have
This is
Bibles
certainly not
everywhere.
going. Yeah, this is not going to fly with American evangelicals. You're going to get rid of the military.
Yeah.
They threw a lot of stuff at you.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what you mean by neighbor. I think neighbor is doing a lot of heavy lifting. If you think that it's such a generalized term, it applies to all humans.
Yeah.
Maybe as far as Paul goes with salvation, but certainly not in the Old Testament, where it says, God says specifically, make sure you kill all the kids, as well. In fact, because you didn't kill all the animals, I'm going to punish you, whoever that was.
Yeah.
That came back and said, I thought I'd keep some of the horse. Can't remember who it was now.
Hey, Tori's showing up in green.
Hey, Tori.
Member for 8 months. Tori.
I wonder if Tori rocks. I'm pretty sure she probably does, as I can see Dave looking off to the side there. So, yeah.
You rock, let's rock with the fire in our veins. Rock on to the skies, to the thunder and rain. All hail Bigfoot, the legend, the king. He walks among shadows, the rocks there and sing.
Yeah, she does.
Thanks, Tori.
That's a great avatar, by the way, Tori. Loving that.
Yeah, everybody, don't forget, you hit the like, you hit the share, you hit the subscribe. Everybody's links for their channels are in the description below, as well as a link to the video that we're looking at, and stores like Breeze Bestiary that sells Bigfoot shirts. I got my Bigfoot shirt on, Bree. Where's my thing at? There we go. Good. Got the Bigfoot shirt on.
Beautiful.
From Breeze Store. So make sure if you're going to get a shirt, you get it from Breeze Store. And,
thank you, Tori.
And
I'm advertising my upcoming merch, which says Nike says, just do it with Simos Funk.
I think I got Joe's ad is down there below too. He's going to be heading up the ARC protest for the 10th year this year. So, second week of June, or it's the week after the holiday or something like that. Anyway.
July.
Second week of July. So I think I got the ad in the description added right, and all that good stuff is in the description below. So make sure you check the description below, and
Seth Andrews will be there.
Yeah, Seth is going to be there. Mandiza is going to be there. A whole bunch of people are going to be there. So anyway, let's find that. Here we go.
But what about rules and guidelines where we don't see a clear benefit? Let me remind you that the Israelites wouldn't have immediately seen and understood the benefit of not eating certain foods or...
Right, I was just going to say.
Really? Really? They wouldn't have? Really?
Somebody eats something and dies, I mean, that's bad, right?
Well, yeah, people die from eating certain foods, and you're saying that they wouldn't see the benefit from eating those foods. I mean, come on,
Or sick,
come on.
Or
Come
they just
on
get
now.
the runs a lot. You can just get the runs a lot. Of course, you know,
Yeah.
back in that day, if you get the runs a lot, you do die. But
Yeah,
More
Yeah.
than likely, yeah.
kind of figure those things out.
It's crazy.
I'm
It-
thinking
but,
of
but
God.
it's not about it's not about obedient. I mean, it's not about benefit. It's about obedience and not getting destroyed by another army or something like that. They weren't thinking, how can this law make me have the good life? You know, it's about, okay, I tell you what, if you follow this, I won't beat the shit out of you. That's what it was about. This whole backdrop of, oh, they just don't see the benefit of doing this. You know, they didn't see it then, but they can see it now that we have more history. That's just the fake background that you paint when you're going to do your podcast on YouTube or something. You have a fake background so it doesn't look as crappy as your apartment, you know. But this is just about getting people to obey your religion and do what the priests say.
I don't think God ever tried bacon. Obviously.
I think he did, and he just went, "Well, that's way too good for those guys."
Maybe so, yes.
But you know, you also have to compare these laws to what was going on in other countries, you know, at the same time, and you'll find that maybe the religions of the other groups, the other nations, were pretty similar in the things that they would restrict. Or, you know, one group might have restricted one type of animal for whatever reason, and it just so happened that the Israelis who didn't grow swine decided to ban it in their law. It's just, it's just a happenstance. You need to look at the development of all the religions and not just one of them based on their mythological writings.
Yeah, I mean, the way you keep pigs versus goats is completely different, right? Goats you keep in herds and you move around where so they can graze, right? Pigs, you literally put anything in and just keep feeding them. So generally speaking, I think pigs were more prevalent around cities rather than goats, which weren't. Basically, their history comes from goat herding, which means they were just walking amongst the mountains, just feeding their flocks when they could, on whatever they could. Hence, there are no fucking trees in that part of the world, right? Because if you keep goats on that kind of land, then the thing they like the most is, the what do they call it? The verdant stuff. So the sprouts, when the trees grow young, they sprout out first, and then that's what the goats prefer to eat. So they go and eat those first, and that way you never get any trees once you've lost all the trees. That's it. None are growing back, and then the whole place becomes a desert. And that goes to show you what damage having goats in the Middle East did, because there was a time when all of that side of the Mediterranean was covered in trees.
I just did a quick, what is Google's AI search thing? I guess it's Gemini.
Gemini.
So, do your own follow-up research and ask questions of it. But apparently, like the Phoenicians at during the pretty much the same time or even prior to ancient Israel, they banned pork. The Egyptians, the priesthood couldn't eat pork. The public ate pork, but it was kind of like eating spam all the time. It was kind of a low status kind of part of their diet. The Syrians, they had bans against eating pork. So it's not so much that this was a special rule from God to keep you, from, being hurt. It's just what the other countries did, and you're incorporating, or what's the word when you take over somebody's culture?
Inherit?
No, appropriation.
They're appropriating the same kind of.
Yeah.
Well, pork actually is a meat that if you don't cook it properly, that there are like even today, like we teach people to cook pork, like beef. Like I like my beef medium rare, but I would never cook my pork that way because pork has just different things that it can be infected with. But as someone who hogged hogs before, trust me, hogs are not good herding animals. They really do. They do not do well herding.
Yeah, so also, I'm sure they would have noticed that pigs eat absolutely everything, right, including their own shit. So, that's got to be off-putting for some people, right?
Well, goats will too. Goats will eat about anything. Like I had
Okay.
a goat; it would eat everything but cast iron.
Interesting. Interesting. I think Jesus.
Burying human waste.
I think Jesus was pretty down on pigs as well.
But that doesn't mean the benefit wasn't there. No doubt, there are similar benefits to following God's laws for organizing the home and church that we are only beginning to figure out. But the
I would not
benefit
say no
is
doubt.
there.
I would say yes, doubt. I doubt that.
Yeah.
Here we go with the patriarchy.
Following God's rules will always produce the best result for us ultimately. Fact number 6.
Well,
The Bible is
It's begging the question right there again. I mean, just saying because God is good, then everything will work out in the end. It's kind of skeptical theism going on there a little bit. And how do you know that? Well, you don't know that. That's the point of skeptical theism. You're just assuming that to be the case. And like I said, if you think that assuming that to be the case is a valid way of arguing, then I think I can recommend atheism for you, because apparently that makes all the assumptions in the world.
Yeah.
At least if you're a true atheist. I mean,
Or we're at 6.
Number 6, we're doing well.
Number 6, all right.
The Bible
6
is
of
more
8.
than just rules.
I would agree.
No shit, Sherlock. It's also claims.
It's like what, 10%
Lot of fucking
rules
claims.
or something?
Lot of claims.
20% prophecy. It's 20%
Definitely not
poetry.
for children.
Yeah. Big chunk of it's not suitable for children.
Yeah, look at Ed's comment here. Was that Ed or? Oh, I'm sorry. It was Liz Allen. So a rape victim marrying their rapist produces the best results?
Yes. Certainly.
Probably because it was a patriarchal
50.
society and she'd be out on the streets.
50 shekels or whatever.
She didn't get married or something, I guess is the argument. But yeah, having a rape, it's not the best designed system in the world.
Stoning your drunk teenage son also usually works out well.
Yeah. At the city gates or whatever, and everybody picks up a rock and welcome home.
Ah, there we are, Liz. I can see you now. Yeah, I mean, look, you can understand in these ancient societies where it's a pure numbers game, right? That they are, they just don't care about the people. They care about the babies that they can indoctrinate and become, get to be on their side, right? Hence this kind of shit. Also, as you say, it's a patriarchal society, so they don't care about the women. That's not a consideration either.
No.
So, but they do want the babies, especially if they're male. No. Yes, and just say Ed's right again. Timing out is not banning. They are different things, clearly.
I know what's going on with you guys, but
Yeah, well, they'll sort it out.
Nobody was
They'll
banned
sort
or
it out.
anything, so just sort of.
Well, it seems like Ed would be more like inclined to ask him, so why do you get timed out? Because
I mean, it also
reason for
sorry. Yeah, it also doesn't follow that it's Ed that's doing the timing out.
Yeah, but I'm
Like,
sure.
why would you accuse him of it? I don't know, but anyway, whatever. Let them get on with that, I suppose. Number 6, the Bible is more than just rules. I don't think anybody doubts at the moment, but let's see how he's going to know True Scotsman this one.
This is 6 out of 8 that are supposed to be things that we say about Christians, and
This is one I agree with.
Some about Christians. I mean, I would say that it's more than just a book of rules, but they seem to concentrate a lot on some silly old rules, right?
Yeah,
Instead
613, I think it is.
Yeah.
Let's count. Yeah,
None of which include not owning people as farm equipment.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
More than just rules. It is true there is a portion of the Bible typically referred to as the law.
There you go.
The law, meaning rules.
Rules.
Oh, my
and
goodness.
generally, you have to follow the Bible to be following the rules, right? I mean,
And throughout the epistles of Paul, there were a lot of what are they called? Imperative sentences that tell people what to do.
There you go.
Take them as commandments, and so there's a lot of fodder for a lot of rules. And I think everybody is aware that there's a history section and a poet section of the Bible. So I don't know. I see this. This number 8 here. Is it 6 or 8? Are we on 6 or 8?
6.
6.
Number 6 is just kind of a straw man in and of itself, because I think most, especially the people in our viewing audience here, know that, there's more to the Bible than just a list of laws and rules and regulations. There's also history. There's also poetry. There's a gospel, that tells the story of Jesus.
And lots of mythology.
Yeah, so the atheists know the Bible. Most atheists know the Bible a lot more than your average street level Christian. So okay, cool. I'm done.
And that section contains many thou shalts and thou shalt nots. However, that portion is composed of only the first 5 books of the Bible.
Aren't those like the foundation for the whole Bible? That's what Ken Ham always says. So, first 5 books of the Bible, forget about it.
Yeah, I think that's a very distinctive reading. If you're just going to say, if it doesn't say it's a law, then you don't have to do it, right? Well, I mean that counts out just about everything Jesus said, right? So why would you want to listen to Jesus if you're a Christian? Because he's not making rules, is he? He's just saying, help the sick, look after the weak, and turn the other cheek, before you, I don't know what it is, before you point out the log in somebody else's eye, take the splinter out of yours or something. I don't know. These aren't rules, so they don't mean anything, right? Because they're not rules. You don't have to follow them. That's perfectly all right. It's a bit of a cop-out, I think, to say that Jesus didn't give any rules to follow. I mean, maybe not in the law sense of the word. And if St. Tommy ever listens to this, I appreciate what you say about the law. But nonetheless, yeah, I think that some of these are rules to follow, if not maybe definitively. Let's give another. Yeah.
The
Love God,
roaming atheist.
compassion and forgiveness, integrity of heart, help the poor, care for the sick, support the marginalized.
Roaming's talking about we
Love
don't know
your
to
enemies.
understand the difference between New and Old Testament. Sure we do. God changed his mind.
Like, why is it that Christians are never right when they start out of the sentence with most
understood.
atheists don't understand?
I think we do. I think we do. I just think that there's so many sects of Christianity that when we quote one, you just say, well, they're not real Christians, right? Like when I say to Protestants, well, of course, you know, there's church tradition. What about the church fathers? They all go, yeah, no, that's Catholic. They're not real Christians, right? And when I say, well, what about Calvinism? Then the Catholics go, well, that's Protestantism. That doesn't count. Right. So I think you got to be a little more selective when you say most atheists don't understand the difference between old and new. Maybe your interpretation, perhaps, but yeah, I think that a lot of atheists understand perfectly well the difference between the Old and New Testament. I come not to change the law, but to fulfill it, or some shit, or whatever it is. So yeah, I'm just saying, like, I think that's an easy accusation to make there, roaming, and I'm not sure that it applies because of the number of different types of sects and doctrine that Christians hold. So maybe you're hearing them understand and comment on some kind of Protestant theology, rather than just saying this is what, you know, this is what all Christians say. And genuinely, I find that as well, that atheists will tend to try to appreciate the difference between different sects, right? And try not to be so all condemning as to say Christian means every single person who declares themselves a Christian. You know, I tend not to do that. So, yeah, I mean, I just think it's a bit of a straw man to say atheists don't understand the difference between old and new.
Yeah.
Genuinely speaking, you know, I think Jesus didn't come to bring peace, but to carry a sword or some shit. And I don't know what that means. Didn't fulfill the law, but to fulfill the law or something. Not to change the law or abolish the law. Thank you very much. But to fulfill the law. If you can tell me that all Christians know exactly what that means, and it's the same as what you mean, I'm happy to go with the criticism then. But I don't think they do. Yeah, no. I think the argument normally made with the Old Testament, right, is that if the morals of God are unchanging, right, then how come they change between? How come Christians want to say they change between the Old Testament and the New Testament? Then doesn't that mean they're not objective?
Yeah, and
that's the argument that's being made, but obviously that's a difficult one to understand sometimes, because it certainly appears like they change.
Where does it say that where it's not applicable? But it doesn't say that, except Paul.
The applicability of the parts of the Old Testament is really kind of a second tier, secondary kind of doctrinal consideration. The difference between the Old Testament and the New Testament is the Old Testament is based on the covenant between, first of all, between Abraham and God, and then between the Israelites and God, and the promise to give all this land to the children of Abraham and to provide a kingdom forever. But then the New Testament is based on the sacrifice of Jesus on the cross. That his blood is the blood of the new covenant. In other words, it seals the agreement between God and humanity. And the way that Paul describes it is that that you're saved by faith in Christ rather than the works of the law. Of course, a lot of people don't like Paul. They reject a lot of his teachings and go another direction. But that's the major difference between the Old Testament and the New Testament. Whether or not you obey the commandments and which commandments you obey, because I don't know of any denomination that truly says you don't have to obey the Old Testament. And there's certain laws of the Old Testament you don't obey. But we got the 10 Commandments, and you're not supposed to kill, you're not supposed to steal, you're not supposed to rape. So those things.
Rape's not one of the 10 Commandments.
Well, you're right. We're not. It doesn't. Old Testament really doesn't mind rape that much. It just depends on who you pay.
I just want to point. Yeah, I just want to point out that is not actually one of the 10 Commandments.
Yeah. So which ones, if at all, that you follow is a secondary concern. But the real difference between those two, and Paul really says you don't have to follow the Old Testament. It's just what rules you're going to ignore and what rules you're going to make up, and then what rules you're going to actually follow. It's worked out on a denomination by denomination basis.
Genesis to Deuteronomy, and by material make up less than 20% of the Bible. The remainder of the Bible is composed of a wide variety of literary genres, including historical narrative, parable, poetry, prophecy, sermon, epistle, and more.
Bullshit.
That's pretty lame. Let me back that up here a little bit.
And by material make up less than 20% of the Bible. The remainder of the Bible is composed of a wide variety of literary genres, including historical narrative, parable.
Historical narrative, maybe a little bit.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, they copied a lot of Greek stuff.
Yeah, lots of parables.
Poetry,
poetry and prophecy. Now, prophecy and the poetry and all that, it just all blends together. It doesn't really mean anything. There's some beautiful stuff about somebody, but you can post hoc about anything in there, and most of those things aren't about the future or the coming king or anything like that. It's about somebody's nephew being born or something. It always turns out to be a local thing that the medical people of the time were talking about and stuff. The whatever you call them, medicine man or something. It doesn't really mean what they think it means, but you can make it mean whatever you want it to. So I got a real problem with those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sermon,
Also,
epistle.
Sermons and epistles. Well, who says?
Yeah.
well,
Simos?
Sermon on the
says?
Mount, obviously. And
Yeah,
I don't know what
who wrote that one?
epistles are. I guess he means the epistles of whomever.
Yeah.
I noticed he didn't put rapping in there either.
I'd just like to point out that there were several pastors that during the pandemic were preaching Sermon on the Mount, and their flock came up after the sermon and said, "Why were you preaching all this woke stuff?" They didn't even recognize the Sermon on the Mount, so
Right.
it's not exactly a popular book.
That's terrible. And well, again, who wrote these things down? Life of Brian, you know, blessed are the cheesemakers, right?
Yeah, that's obviously not meant literally, though, is it? It could be any dairy product producers.
So these things are all true, but they're kind of very weak. They certainly don't stand out from any other religions that make claims in their holy books too. So
Yes.
you know,
Very much so.
we're running low. We're running low, and you don't have me convinced yet. But
Well,
I backed it up and I read it just to make sure.
yeah, okay. I mean, there are I will agree with his point here. There are different genres within the Bible, as you would expect from a book written over whatever 600 years, 500
Right.
years, or 300 years. Let's say 400 years to be in the middle.
So, okay,
Yeah, that's another good one. Chuck says, "Do not yoke a donkey and a camel together." That's interesting.
Great advice.
Yeah.
They'll bite each other probably.
Well, that as well. I mean, you'd have to go quite a distance to find a camel, which is tame in those days.
Yeah.
And more. Even those 5 books we call the law aren't all rules and laws.
I don't call them the law.
You call it the law, but it's not the law.
I don't call it the law. No.
Okay.
What's it
Tricky.
called when a guy goes on and on about a point that really doesn't have anything to do with anything because it's not relevant?
Let's get tricky.
I think it's a red herring or a non sequitur.
Whatever that word is, he's doing it.
Yeah, he's all over the map on that one.
Oh dear. Thanks, Robert. Yeah, Ed, which
Indeed.
number are we up to? Sorry. Which number are we up to?
Oh, we're up there.
Yeah, we are. I know that much.
Much of Genesis, Exodus, and Numbers is composed of narrative stories rather than simply a list of
Can I
rules.
just say,
Proportionally, therefore,
he said,
It's all about rules.
well, he said numbers, right? I guess he's referring to the book, and I've only got one critique of that, which is, that's number wang.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead.
rules and commands make up only a fraction of the Bible. When we view the
That's
Bible
number
as a
one.
whole,
There you go. Only a little bit of the Bible tells you what to do. But that's all that people worry about, right? Right?
Well, I mean, that's what they should be worried about, because that's the law.
It's the law. But it's not really
You
the
can't-
law.
You can't fight the law, can you? We all know that from Sham 69.
No.
Unless God changes its mind.
we can see it for what it really is. The story of God redeeming mankind to himself at a terrible cost.
Because of himself.
After Jesus'
by
resurrection,
himself.
he appeared
For
Terrible
himself.
cost. Yeah,
That's
he
terrible.
redeemed us. He already redeemed us at the cross. See, that's the thing. What did Jesus do at the cross?
Didn't do anything.
Let's give him everything. Let's give him everything. Okay. Open the book right up. Here you go. We'll give you the book. Give you what did it turn out? Well, nothing changed, right?
Oh, well, no, he did forgive a couple of people like that had been thieves, didn't he? He forgave a couple of
Okay.
thieves.
Well, in one gospel that happens.
Definitely did that.
I don't think that's in every gospel. About
That's that's
What,
all
the
he
thieves?
did, right?
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, hard luck case.
to 2 disciples on the road to Emmaus. And beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them in all the scriptures the things concerning himself. Luke 24, verse 27.
Bloody
The script-
narcissist.
Moses.
Eh? What a narcissist. Just it's all about things concerning himself. It's the very definition of the word. Jesus was a narcissist. He didn't care about other people.
Jesus is not in the Old Testament.
What? What?
Back to Moses. I'm like,
I, like I love the way they insert Jesus into the Old Testament. Like Jesus did
Mhm.
not fulfill the prophecies by the Jewish, prophets. None of it. He did none of it.
Right. I don't know. There is a hymn called Emmanuel. So I don't know. There's a misinterpretation of the word logos as well to go by.
Scriptures are the story of Jesus, of God announcing his coming, preparing and preserving the people through whom he would come.
And
Of
can I
describing-
just point out, I've known a lot of women that do the same thing. Right? They announce their coming by shouting Jesus.
Or God. Yes.
oh God,
Or oh God, yeah. Same difference. Yeah.
stand back.
what he did to redeem mankind and of preparing us for his return. Our obedience to his rules is a vital part of that preparation. But never forget that those rules are but one part of God's message of love and redemption to
Yeah,
mankind.
the other part is lube.
The other part,
Good.
yeah. The other part is Revelation.
And this part is sickening too.
I'm just making myself laugh now.
If you're
I can
good to
see.
God, then
Nobody
your
else-
life
nobody
is
else is
good,
laughing.
and if you're not, then your life is going to be bad, type thing. I mean, it's an ideal, right? There's a reason bad things happen to you, right? Kind of sad statement.
While it would be impossible to boil the message of the Bible down to one single verse, John
gonna do it
3:16
anyway.
has been accurately described as the Bible in miniature. And what do we find at the heart of that verse? God's love for humanity. For
No.
God so loved the world.
Right? Stop right there.
He
No.
didn't love his son though, did he?
It doesn't say anything about loving anything on all of
Good
us.
point.
It says it's so loved the world.
I would say
we are a pestilence, right?
yeah. My man. I would say I get out of the whole. When you read the whole book, God's a dick. What I get out of the whole.
Yeah,
like-
absolutely.
Short little
That he gave us.
bumper sticker kind of deal.
Yeah.
In miniature, you mean, Robert? In miniature, he's a micro dick.
Yeah, micro penis.
His only son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have eternal life. John 3,
Can I
verse 16.
just point out here, it says should. Not does, but should.
Yeah.
Okay? So there's no guarantees here, people. So all of you Christians out there, you should get to heaven, but depends, right? Depends whether you believe in some heretical, like church or something like that. So maybe the Christians, maybe the Catholics are right, maybe the Protestants are right, but they can't all go to heaven. So who knows?
Little
Who
all
knows?
is problem right here.
What's more, it is his love for us that should inspire our love for him, which is demonstrated by our obedience to his rules.
Yeah.
Jesus said in John 14,
not
verse
against-
15,
I'm not against a reach around from time to time.
Yeah, it would be.
if you love me, you will keep my commandments.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible is
Now, keep my commandments. What is he talking about commandments? Just to love one another commandment, or to follow all the old law with the 613 commandments?
If
Nice
you
to
love
know.
me, you will not covet your neighbor's ass.
Yeah. I thought the law and the law won.
Well, all you gotta do is have the thoughts, right? There's thought crimes in Christianity too. Just thinking of something
Covet.
is
That's coveting. That's a thought crime.
yeah, it's a thought crime. Yeah.
And basically
Yes.
the foundation for capitalism, by the way, too.
I think if I could just ask a quick question here of roaming Catholic. He said earlier, gave a definition of what fulfilled or fulfill means in the context of the law. Could you just write that out again for us? I'd appreciate that, because I'm a little hazy on Catholic theology. But yeah, sorry, go ahead. I thought it doesn't come to what did you say, Robin? Jesus says he didn't come
He didn't
to
come to
change,
abolish the law. He said he did not
abolish the
abolish
law.
the law. He
Okay.
come to fulfill it. So, like, that means
Yeah.
that actually, according to Jesus, we were supposed to keep the laws of Moses until heaven and earth passed away. That's what. Like,
Okay.
and but then Paul came along, who never met Jesus, and actually changed those rules. And people, so I think it should be called polyanity, not Christianity.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so if we could just get the Catholic idea of what that means, that would be really good.
So much richer and more revealing than a mere list of rules could ever be. Let me challenge you by suggesting that when you read the Bible, look for the love of God in every section and every story. I can assure you, you will find it.
No,
Yeah. Okay.
some of those stories are pretty crappy. If it's the love of God, that's where I have a problem with everything God does is good or something like that. But by that excuse, anything goes. So there's real problems with the God of the Bible and what it does to people.
Yeah.
For
That's
jollies, it seems like.
I mean, if the standards are different between the Old and the New Testament, then who's to say that the New Testament won't be changed?
Right, and
Maybe when he comes back, he's going to say, "All right, you've been getting it wrong all this time."
yeah.
Anyway, there we go.
Well, there are many versions, English versions of the New Testament and the Old Testament too, where the translator chose the wrong English word because it violated their particular denominational thrust,
Right.
or
Yes.
sometimes maybe like whoever was funding the translation. And so they just put a word in that made it more amenable to their particular doctrine or twist on that particular idea. So you have to always go back and check the source text and see what the better translations of it are.
Finding God's love in the Bible is like looking for lint in chicken shit.
Yeah, people. I understand religions comfort people in times of need and everything and stuff like that, but you have to stay in reality with these things too. I have a real problem with the creationists and everything are all running around telling kids that the scientists are all a bunch of liars about stuff. That it's really no concern of theirs either way. Does it matter that they're going to go visit Jesus someday or whatever if they follow the doctrines and do all things? Not really, So just go do that stuff then and be with Jesus if that's your point. I don't understand all the money and time and energy spent with the pseudoscience crap by these creationists when they've got Jesus and heaven and everything else and great to celebrate. Why they have to expend so much towards anti-science stuff? It's mind-boggling.
Yeah. Also, I'd like to point out that like the Catholics, since we have our little Catholic friend in chat, taught people for years that their unbaptized children would not be going into heaven, and so like their unbaptized children were like stuck in this this little in between phase. That was definitely not comforting to probably me and possibly billions of people who were told that until they got rid of that doctrine. So
Not very
Yeah,
nice.
just got to say hello to a few people here.
Yeah.
Liz Allen, hello, welcome.
Hello.
Jacqueline, 25.
Hello.
Garland Garrett, welcome. And yeah, that's it for the moment. Thank you.
So you're not one
Fact
of the
number 7.
Catholics. Is that what you're saying? You're not a Roman Catholic, so you're not a real Catholic. Okay, got you.
Well, I think
The Bible is grounded.
by Catholics Exposed. In other words, they're anti-Catholic. And
Oh, I
this is
see.
like a roaming handle or something.
Oh.
I thought you were the same one that was in Discord. Are you not on this? You're not the roaming Catholic on Discord. Okay. I beg your pardon. If that's the case, I'm very sorry to have missed.
Either way, they haven't provided any kind of citation that Isaiah 53 is about Jesus. So all the other scripture he or she, I don't know, are throwing out there is irrelevant because I asked for a citation that shows that Jews believe that Isaiah 53 was about Jesus, which is kind of a silly statement to make.
No.
Oh well, there we go. Up to number 7 here, which is very impressive by us, I feel.
Number 7. Can you believe it?
The Bible is.
Simos, did you doubt at the beginning that we?
No, I didn't. I was confident we would get there, just because I thought they were all probably going to be really shit.
Your confidence is driving us through.
Number 7.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 7. The Bible is grounded in history.
No.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, no, of course it is. Of course it is.
This is why I believe
Parts.
Sherlock Holmes was a real person.
Right.
You know, they've even got his house up and running there in London.
Yeah.
So there you go.
There you go. Conan
Sherlock
Doyle
Holmes
was a real person. I'm just saying.
London's a real place.
Yeah, like grounded. What I mean, grounded can do a lot of heavy lifting here. So yeah, no, I've got no problem with saying the Bible is grounded in history. It's an ancient book. We've dug up like the Christian literature, archaeologically speaking, and so yeah, I've got no problem saying that it's grounded. If you just mean it existed in the past, but it doesn't mean it's true, right?
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
I'm just saying the Iliad is grounded in history as well. Don't think that's true. And my favorite book ever, The Odyssey, that's grounded in history.
Oh yes,
certainly most of it isn't true.
Much better than the Bible.
Oh, it's a fantastic book, The Odyssey. Oh, I love it.
See, the stuff about the Messiah in the Old Testament and everything, and Jesus and not fulfilling it, and who there was many Messiahs. It's kind of hard to follow. But yeah, that's where I go. It's like things like in Isaiah, they're talking about their Jesus. They're talking about people of their time. These things are taken out to mean other people. I don't think they're meant that way.
Well, like I said earlier, as far as I know, the word Jesus or the name Jesus is never mentioned in the Old Testament.
No.
The best you've got is an allusion to, and then secondly, the New Testament is written with full knowledge of the Old Testament. So who's to say that they didn't just backwrite a story into the Old Testament which vaguely hinted that this was going to be the case, right? Oh, look, this is prophecy fulfilled.
And can I just say,
if you already know the prophecy, if you already know the answer to the prophecy, then you can write that down. I mean, I could say, like, I know the answers to last week's lottery. Right? If I write the numbers down, does that mean that I prophesied it? It was prophesied? No.
They didn't do a good job of it.
Has no fucking relevance at all. Why? Because it's not specific.
But they still got some wrong, even though they had they had version 1. They still didn't even do all that good. Like, it was like really.
It goes to show you that the Old Testament was probably in the same state as most of ancient literature, which is slightly confused. I mean, that we know that there are, at least 3 or 4 different versions of Gilgamesh's story. Right? They don't all agree with each other. We don't think that that's a real problem because we don't take it literally. We don't think it really happened in that way. I mean, you might think that Gilgamesh was a king at some point of a particular city, but I don't think it has any bearing on the actual story itself.
Yeah, just for the times too. I mean,
Yeah,
he might have been a great king back in the day, but what relevance does it have to anything today?
yeah, or in the myths that were made up, or in the stories that were constantly changed over time over the next 2,000 years.
That's where I have a problem, is where these people are trying to go back to this time, and it's like, well, it's a different time. It's a different place. It's different people. There are no giants, right? I mean, come on. Hey, Philbert, how you doing? Good to see you. The mighty Philbert. Mighty Philbert has a Saturday show, I believe. So, drop by later.
Interesting that maybe 200, 300 years from now, somebody's going to make the case that Sherlock Holmes was real because there's a house in London that's just made up to look just like his. They're at what it was something B Baker Street. I can't remember the number.
221B.
221B Baker Street.
I've got Sherlock Holmes
evidence that Sherlock Holmes is real, but it also shows you that people will take works of fiction and change their present to make it look like the past. And that's kind of exactly what happened in the New Testament. Is they took quotes from the Old Testament and wrote a gospel that made it look like Jesus fulfilled those quote unquote prophecies. But in so doing, they took those prophecies out of context and misinterpreted them, which is what Roman Catholic Exposed is doing here. He's trying to force fit something that people took for the nation of Israel long before Jesus ever came along, and force fit the story about Jesus into it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's it's certainly a probable, I think, explanation for it. The fact that even the most highly educated people of that time in that area didn't think that Jesus was the Messiah goes to show you that there should be some doubt about it, right? So I mean, like if it's Sanhedrin or whatever, I don't know, the higher ups in the Jewish church that studied the Old Testament to a high degree and had literacy. Right, then they didn't think that he was the Messiah, so there's got to be some question over it, right? So then relying on first century documents, right, to say, oh no, they all got it wrong, right, for hundreds of years, right, is just begging the question. Really, it's not. I don't think it's begging the question. It's it's a fallacy to say that because the later interpretation is right. It's ad hoc. There we go. Thank you, Simon.
Yes, ad hoc.
It's ad hoc reasoning.
Or post hoc. Post hoc.
Post hoc. Post hoc. Yeah, maybe that's better. Yes. I just think that if they'd said, "Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Ed." Robin beat you to it slightly, but yes, you're right. Thank you for the correction. So I just think it's like at least there has to be some doubt about whether which side is going to be the correct side, and unless you can say no, this particular prophecy is so accurate that it couldn't apply to anybody else, right? Which is what I would like to see. Then, yeah, I don't think you've proven that that it's necessarily about Jesus.
Al, how you doing there, Al? Good to see
Hey,
you.
Al. And
Israel would
somebody,
never accept a Hellenized Messiah. I don't know about that. I mean, maybe in time they would have. I mean, that's possible, right? I mean, Alexander had rolled through there 300 years earlier, and obviously just taken, they'd rolled over, basically, looking at Alexander's army, presumably, and gone, no, we've been through this before with the Babylonians. Fuck that. We'll just give him his whatever he fucking wants. So yeah, no, I just think the idea that Greek was the, as we say these days, the lingua franca, the most commonly spoken language in the area. So yeah, I just think it's just false to say they don't accept it. If you look at later church fathers, in the case of the Roman Catholics, and they were all about Greek understanding, and also a lot of the later rabbis also changed their views to become coherent with Greek thinking of that period, or earlier than that period, really, Aristotle, Plato. So it's just not true to say that they wouldn't have. Yeah, maybe they were still butthurt at that time by Alexander, but there you go. Yeah, tough.
Yeah.
Should have put up a better fight. You might have saved the rest of the world then. Oh, but of course, your God didn't want to help you when it came to Alexander.
Right.
Yeah.
Pick and choose.
Yeah, absolutely.
we're definitely not Christian. This is not a Christian stream. We like to watch like videos made by Christians speaking to atheists.
And yes, he's just responded. Stories could have been changed. Yeah, and they're definitely post hoc, right? That's without doubt. Definitely, if you were educated at that time, you would have spoken Greek, right? Because of having to deal with other people, right? That was the most commonly spoken language in the world at that time. So, yeah, I think there's a good evidence that if you spoke Greek, you would have been familiar with the Greek poets. You'd have had to learn your Greek from somewhere, so you undoubtedly would have read most of the Greek classics, and that probably includes some of the philosophers as well. So I think those ideas, very powerful ideas, that went on to form the basis of Western tradition, were probably picked up by educated people in the area. Hence, they probably would have been picked up by most literate Hebrew speakers as well.
Yeah, we're reviewing this video to see if we agree or disagree. And that's why we're looking at the video.
Hang on a minute. No. Roaming. The New Testament was written after the Old Testament, right? And as such, there are plenty of quotes and references back to the Old Testament. So whoever those writers are that did that, they clearly knew the Old Testament, right? That's why it's post hoc, definitively, right? Definitionally, it's post hoc.
Yeah, since there were no actual eyewitnesses to what happened in the early first century like that, these are just stories that have been written a certain way. So yeah, it's very easy to change all that because whoever wrote the gospel made up the story to tell.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, unless you think they're eyewitnesses, in which case,
Were you there?
yeah, were you? Thank you, Dave. Oh, Dave, the classic. Were you there?
there?
Yeah, the number one point number 1 this man made.
I'll be back in a
Anyway.
minute, guys.
All right.
No worries.
We've made it almost to number 8. Look here.
Almost.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Almost.
Bible is grounded in history. I think we can agree with this one. Yep, certainly. Doesn't mean
history.
everything in it is right.
A
It's just
common
because they
claim
get
is
one
that the
fact
stories
right.
contained in the Bible are nothing more than fairy tales and folklore.
Nope,
But how
that's
did
not
most
the claim.
fairy tales begin?
Sure, man.
Once upon a time in a faraway land.
What's that got?
In
to
the
do with it?
beginning.
That's not actually what
Yeah.
that book says either.
Doesn't matter how you begin a book.
Oh, let's just talk about Dave Allen. Yeah, it's the Bible is an Irish book because it says it began at the beginning.
Yes, Dave Allen.
In
I love
the
that.
beginning, it began.
There you go.
Now contrast that with what we read in the Bible. Luke chapter 3 opens with the ministry of John the Baptist.
That's not
Note
right.
carefully the detail Luke includes in the first 2 verses. In the 15th year of the reign of Tiberius Caesar, Pontius Pilate being governor of Judea, and Herod being tetrarch of Galilee, and his brother Philip, tetrarch of the region of Iturea and Trachonitis, and Lysanias, tetrarch of Abilene, during the high priesthood of Annas and Caiaphas, the word of God came to John, the son of Zechariah, in the wilderness.
Yeah.
Luke-
Okay.
Wow.
Like, yeah, the Bible does not end, and they lived happily ever after. Like hardly anybody.
So this is when he had a prophecy. As I take it, he had a prophecy when all these things happened.
And if I was God, I would deliver my words in the wilderness to people, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, or on top of a mountain or in a cave or somewhere where nobody else can hear.
Yeah.
That's
Where everybody's
usually how it is.
illiterate. Mhm.
You're right, and only a few people could write down what it said, and you have to believe what they wrote down, or 8 of the 10 are death penalty. Right? Okay. What a loving dude. Got it all set up.
Yeah, well, again, we're just going to go back to Spider-Man here, aren't we, or whoever, and we're just going to say, let's go back to Sherlock Holmes. Does bigotry exist? Yes,
Right.
it does. Were they going around in horse and carriage at the time? Yeah, historically they probably were. Was gaslighting a new thing? Yes, it was, probably. Overwhelmingly probably. Did the club that he went to, the gentleman's club that he went to, I can't remember the name of it, exist? Yeah, that existed too. So there's plenty of historical things. And like he said in number 3.3 or something, excuse me, it's historically accurate so far as it can be checked. Well, yeah, that's just saying if it was historical, right, then, and it's checked out that it's historical, then it's historical. But the claim is, right, it's not that the historical stuff is not historical, right? It's the stuff which isn't necessarily or is not known to be historical, right, and can't be checked. Is that historical? That's what we're arguing about. So this is just an irrelevance really to anything that any atheist would claim, right? Did donkeys talk at that time in history? Right? No, they didn't talk at that time in history. Right?
Maybe they still don't talk. They still don't talk either.
Does eating an apple give you wisdom? No, knowledge. No, it doesn't. Eating apples don't give you knowledge. That's not a thing that happens. So there are many things in there which just are non sequiturs. They have no relevance at all to anything to do with history. But the stuff that does have to do with history does have to do with history. And if you think that that's a good argument, it's circular, it's not a good argument.
Luke places John's ministry in a definite time frame by mentioning 7 historical people holding 4 different titles over 4 different regions. That's about as historically grounded as it gets.
And they're wrong. Like
What difference does it make?
yeah,
I mean, even if all those people were in power and they named them all, good for you.
Yeah, but like
you wrote
it's
it down.
wrong. It's wrong. Like on a bunch of stuff about King Herod and
Yeah.
and the census and like no, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, a couple of the details in the lines that he mentioned are disputed, or at least ambiguous anyway. But again, I don't care personally. I mean, so what? So he mentions people at that time, right? That he was presumably writing, or at least in the previous generation, in recent history at least. So he mentions a number of people, and if he lived in that area, presumably he would have known the facts about that. Did Jerusalem exist? Yeah, of course. Right? It's just a nothing burger right there. It's a nothing burger. Did nothing burgers exist back then? Clearly, because Paul wrote quite a few of them.
Big old nothing burger. Yeah.
And there is somehow later on in what they claim to be historical between who was ruling at the particular time. There's a time there is some date disputes between Herodas and Pontius Pilate, right? So, yeah.
Isn't the only example of Luke's historical precision. The book of Acts makes reference to 32 countries, 54 cities, 9 islands, and 95 named individuals.
There again,
Wow.
people are writing things down. So what?
And somehow though,
You have something in your book, right?
Yeah, they weren't aware that wasn't the entire world.
Yeah. And naming places and stuff, and it's like, so what? I mean, so do other texts, I mean, that's kind of the purpose, was to write these things down so people knew, right? I mean, I don't see the grand revelation of it, right? Even if I grant it, okay, you wrote these things down, good for you, But what does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. They just wrote stuff down that happened, So, really weak. Running out.
I can't wait to see what number 8 is.
Yeah, he's about out of choices here. You haven't convinced me yet. I haven't seen any straw men yet.
Also, if I could just say this, Roman Catholic, they knew about the Old Testament, right? That's undisputable, I think. As I say, I've already given you some ideas as to why that might be the case. And nobody's disputing that there are basic historical facts about the world, which they say, which is true. Nobody's disputing that. The dispute comes between saying just because some facts are true in the Bible, some historical facts are true, therefore everything that the Bible says is historically true. That doesn't follow, right? That's a non sequitur. It's a fallacy, and I think you can see quite simply by claiming that supernatural donkeys talk, right? Which it says in the Bible. We've got no reason to believe that's a historical fact. It's more likely that somebody had an auditory hallucination, than it is that donkeys actually talk. But if you can find a donkey that talks, I'll take that claim back. But please find me a donkey that can talk first.
Right.
Also, he writes, our interlocutor, Roman Catholics Exposed, writes, if they knew the Old Testament, so they made it up as your standard, then any historical document written by people familiar with prior literature is suspect, which dissolves all history. First of all, your interpretations of those prophetic passages is just not correct if you do a serious study of them. Number two, you have to remember there are things called the writings of contemporaries. There are no writings of contemporaries for Jesus. And so if we had those, then history might conceivably be on the side of historical. But we don't have that. What we have is later literature with stories that, number one, they don't really understand the Old Testament, because whoever wrote Matthew and Luke, they had some crap understandings of the Hebrew and of the writings of the Old Testament. And then, well, I guess that's all I'll say. There are standards of historical analysis that you don't mention, and the story of the Gospels doesn't meet that. That's the whole point. Why do we think that they basically post hoc, created these quote unquote prophecies that he fulfilled? Is because of the literary analysis, absent any real historical data from contemporaries. AD, what? We'll say from 10 BCE to 40 CE, something around that area. We just don't have it, and you can't provide it because it doesn't exist. Maybe it will someday, but it doesn't now.
And they don't even agree with each other. Those Gospels don't. And we're not saying it's false. We're saying there's no good reason to believe that it is accurate. That's the difference.
Yeah, I think Alex O'Connor, within his debate with Dinesh D'Souza, came up with a good example where I think it was Luke that said Jesus went to Egypt, right? And he comes back to wherever it is some days later or some months later, however long it is. And Luke says, I say this in order to fulfill the prophecy. Right. So if that doesn't give you some hint that some of the New Testament, at least one or two sentences in the New Testament, were written in order to show that the Old Testament was prophecy for Jesus, then I don't know. And that directly contradicts another version, another gospel. So
and the story
there are problems.
The story of the Bethlehem census thing too is something that we have. We have like Roman records showing when the census were, and we know that what they used to do the census, and they did not send you back to your the land of your 1,000-year-old grandfather where you were from. That's not how a census works. So
yeah, and I'm pretty sure there are no Roman records of census in that
no, there
period.
Wasn't.
The closest one I could find was in Egypt in the 9 AD. Okay? And that completely, and the way that census was done completely disagrees with the idea of the census that was done in that the Bible talks about the census being done in Palestine. So, I mean, what you're talking about, one province next to another, one Roman province next to another, doing censuses completely different ways, and yet still being both Roman censuses. So, I don't think that's true.
I was just looking at the chat.
And no, what written during the figure's lifetime by eyewitnesses. Yeah, no, I think you're misunderstanding somewhat, Roaming.
Relax just a little bit.
Yeah, so when we talk about history claims, right? I think by and large, people are skeptical of the claims made by historical evidence, by and large. However, there becomes a certain time when the claims are about things which are supernatural, miracles, resurrections, being dipped into a river by when you were a kid and making you immortal, apart from your ankle, or however many more there are. There's loads more, isn't there? Let's face it. That's the reason that these claims are naturally discounted when it comes to historicity, right? That's the historical method, right? Because if you have to accept, right, something donkey's talking, right, as being historically true, then naturally you have to accept that Achilles could have existed and been immortal to anything but, getting an arrow through his ankle, right? Which clearly is nonsense. Same with Jason. Same with all of the Greek heroes, right? They all have some supernatural powers because they're born of gods.
Yeah,
Right?
Achilles was
Just like Jesus, funnily enough. Go ahead.
Achilles was not immortal. He was invincible, except for his heel. His mother never. He was dipped in the river Styx, but his mother never burned him in the fire, which would have made him immortal.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So slight misspeak. I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
But yeah, invincible then. That's fine. Yeah, and several others, right? Prometheus as well, right? So, so
I recommend the Greek myths over the biblical myths. Anyway, they're much better. They're much better literature. Much better.
And also they're very similar in some ways to the Jesus story as well, which is interesting, shall we say? Historically interesting that that they were around before the thing, and before Jesus, and if indeed the Gospels are written in Greek as originals, then potentially most of the people that wrote them knew of the Greek myths as well. So it's not surprising that the myths follow the same sort of pattern, right? Demigods have special powers, which are godlike powers.
Born to virgins.
Born of virgins in the game of Mithra, yeah. But anyway, there you go. Just a few things, just a couple of things thrown out there.
All of this led biblical scholar J.B. Lightfoot to proclaim, "No ancient work affords so many tests of veracity, for no other has such numerous points of contact in all directions with contemporary history, politics, and topography, whether Jewish, Greek, or Roman."
Well, J.B. Lightfoot is a liar.
Yeah, nice claim, but
different texts tell of different times and write stuff and
no ancient work, right? I mean, what are you considering ancient there, right? Because if you think that 400 AD is ancient, then you're including quite a lot of Roman texts, which are, allegedly penned by eyewitness testimony and autobiographies, and have lots of details about conquering Gaul, for instance, and where particular places are in Gaul and how battles happened, etc., etc. So, no, there are definitely historical documents. I think history was done in a different way back then.
I'd like to say this guy died.
That shows that that all of the ancient literature falls foul of the same fallacies that the Testaments do.
Yeah, this guy died in 1889, which was long before that we actually came up with a lot of our modern archaeological methods to study.
Oh yeah, so much has been discovered. So many documents, so many architectural structures, texts, things like that. It's just amazing how different the knowledge base is as compared to 1899.
Especially to do with the Old Testament as well, right? Because we've had the Qumran texts show up since then. And that's that is amazing, right? It shows that like the later versions of the Torah, are reasonably accurate. I wouldn't say they're completely accurate, but they're reasonably accurate, right? And we don't have that for the Gospels, right? We don't have that for we don't have the originals of the Gospels, at least anyway. Or scholars tend to believe that there were pre-existing Gospels. So yeah, just to say that's the case. That's the case. Peter's Gospel, right? Do you think that was written by Peter the Apostle? I don't think you do. Hence, it wasn't included in the Bible, presumably. But there's lots of dispute about these things, and it's the supernatural claims, right? those claims which are, well, let's just say the evidence for which would have to be extraordinary, not just somebody writing it in a book. Those are the claims which we don't think are historical, and that certainly atheists push back against. They don't care about claims as whether some of it is historical. I think some of it is historical, but that doesn't show anything about the actual thing. Like even the biography of Alexander, right, claims to have supernatural things in it, and I don't think anybody thinks that Alexander was a god in Egypt. Right? Everybody sees that as a political move.
I think Alexander saw it that way, but that's what.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah. He claimed he was a god anyway. But anyway, that's what started him off on his drunken rage to go fucking become a god of everywhere.
Of course, I say that facetiously because maybe Alexander knew, he was obviously good politically. He just knew to make up stories, or his mother, actually, I think is said to have made up stories about his divinity for political reasons. Did he believe that? I wonder. It's an interesting question.
Yeah, no, I think he did. I think he became fixated on the fact that he'd done so much that he thought he was godlike, But you got to remember, with the Greek idea of godlike is different from what the Christians claim Jesus is. Right? It's a similar story, right? Which is why it's a little bit confusing. But no, I would be certain that in this passage of world domination in such a short period of time, and having been in so many battles, it wasn't until he got injured, really, like in India or somewhere like that, I think, that he really went off the rails, became a demon, I suppose.
Oh.
But again, when you look at history like this, you're literally just going, okay, what's a likely explanation, right? And of course, I'm going to discount supernatural things. I don't think Alexander was born of he was a demigod. I really don't. He was just a really ruthless and fit gentleman who had a great education and decided to become a political demon, really. I mean, he literally took a continent, I would say a continent, no, a country, what later became a country, and unified it, right? And it, bearing in mind the Greeks could never agree over anything at this point, that they had, the Peloponnesian Wars, etc. Later on, they were constantly at war, and the fact his father Philip was able to unite the whole peninsula was nothing more than a miracle in those days, right? And that's what gave him the base in order to go on and conquer the world. So, and again, it politically done, right? Very shrewdly done. Took the Middle East first, Palestine, Syria, etc. Then moved to Egypt, which was the power base. And once he got his power base in Egypt done, the numbers started swelling of his troops, and then he could go on and rely on these fantastic tactics which he'd come up with.
While Luke was the historian extraordinaire of biblical writers, this historical grounding is by no means limited to his work. Numerous...
Doesn't Luke start off with, these are stories I heard that I am passing down? I mean, he's all third person right from the beginning, right?
I think so. To say that Luke was a historian, I think, is a somewhat of an over-exaggeration. Did he know some things about the past? Yeah, certainly. He certainly knew some Roman history. But where did he come from? Right? Where was he on his way from?
By no means limited to his work.
Where was he on his way from when he was going to Damascus?
Yeah.
Right? Was it Rome? Right?
And his brother Philip, tetrarch of...
Were the Romans very good at history? Oh yeah, they were. Right? They'd been writing good history for at least 200 years before that, if not a lot longer. So, Anyway, now go on. Now he's going to tell us now about how good these, Herodotus.
Hit the thing.
Let me challenge you by suggesting that when you read the Bible, look for the love of God in every section and every story. I can assure you, you will find
Okay, I'm going to have to
number
stop
7.
you there.
The Bible
yes.
is grounded in history.
Yes, look for in the especially in the Noah's Ark story, the love of God. Yes.
And can we
Beautiful
just look in chat there, because Objective Ethics has just outdone himself.
Objective ethics.
I got to say, he more than rocks here.
Oh, sweet.
Nice.
He more than rocks. Great to see you up and well, brother. Take the kids out to lunch with me and give them my many thanks for taking care of you in the time of your need. How lovely. He's such a nice guy, isn't he? He really is.
Beautiful.
He's a fantastic member.
OE and I will be moderating a debate on his channel tonight too.
Oh, okay. Who's that between?
You will have to ask OE. I'm not sure.
Okay. I looked and it's not good, but nonetheless, that's fine. Have fun.
Oh, Ace Philosophy and somebody.
Oh, is it? Okay, that's cool.
Well, all of you, from all of us.
You rock, let's rock with the fire in our veins. Rock on till the skies, till the thunder and rain. All hail Bigfoot, the legend, the king. He walks among shadows, the wild spirits sing.
Objective ethics. Thank you very much supporting
Very
the
generous.
channel and all that we do here. And yeah, I'm feeling good. I hope you're feeling good. I hope everybody's doing good. We're all here on Saturday because we're doing all right.
Absolutely. I got to say, what I love about Objective Ethics the most is the miracle that he can do by walking on water.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Again, thank you. You rock.
Hey, I just noticed also, not only is there that debate tonight that Robin was talking about, looks like tomorrow on Objective Ethics, Austin Sims will be doing a presentation on biological evolution.
Yes.
He's a smart guy, that young Austin fella. Let me
He's
tell
very
you.
enthusiastic. So.
He is, yes.
You get him wound up, step back. Nothing against the guy. He's learning a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's
He's like
cramming
a
it in.
sponge.
He's cramming
And
it
he
in.
likes
That's
what he's
great.
learning. That's what's cool, is when somebody likes what they're learning and get excited by it. I hope that for all my grandchildren.
Yeah.
A common claim is that the stories contained in the Bible are nothing more than fairy tales and folklore.
Right.
But how do most fairy tales begin? Once upon a time, in a faraway land.
That's not what it
Now
said.
contrast that with what we read.
That's not what it said. It said once upon a time there was a princess.
Right.
Come on, get your own fucking graphics together. It can't be difficult to find once upon a time.
Or once upon a time in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
That's not even true. A lot of stories start, it was a dark, rainy night, something like that, So
Yeah.
there are plenty of ways to write gritty realism into a fictional story.
Was it Once Upon a Midnight Drear or something like that? How's that sort?
Yeah, he's setting the mood.
Yeah.
Luke
and
chapter
it's-
3 opens with the ministry of John the Baptist. Note carefully the detail Luke includes in the first 2 verses. In the 15th year of the reign of Tiberius Caesar, Pontius
He already
Regis.
said all that stuff.
That's about as historically grounded as it gets. And this isn't the only example of Luke's historical precision. The book of Acts makes reference to 32 countries, 54 cities, 9 islands, and 90 politics and topography, whether Jewish or make reference to individuals or events mentioned in the Bible. Biblical characters and people like the Hittites, King David, and Pontius Pilate, that were once treated as fictitious, are now known to have existed via artifacts and
Nobody treated him as fictitious. It was just, you know,
let me just look. I thought I
when they
heard.
name armies and stuff, they expect some trace of it. Was all.
Yeah, I'm
There
not
just
sure.
wasn't any.
I'm not sure. Fiction. I'm not sure. I heard someone. I did hear a historian saying most scholars believe it was likely a real. Oh, okay, most likely a real historical figure. Okay.
And also,
That's-
you can set any story, like in the second year of Jimmy Carter's administration, Sherlock Holmes came out of cryogenic sleep. You know, yeah, one part is grounded in history, the other part is grounded in historic, older literature.
and even when you grant a lot of these stories, they don't make sense. That's the
Right.
problem too. So okay, I'll grant you that this person did whatever, but what did it change about the story? Nothing. So doesn't really mean anything, right?
And if there's anybody out there who's a good writer who wants to make a great story or a screenplay about Sherlock Holmes in the 1970s, please write it and make that movie.
We got somebody else. Jinxie here. Thank you, Jinxie. What was that Dave Allen said about the Bible? It all began in the beginning. I think was what it was. He said. Yeah, sorry. Welcome, Jinxie. Anyway.
inscriptions that have been unearthed. Time and time again, the Bible has proven itself reliable when it comes to ancient history. We cannot rush to dismiss it as merely a book of fables, but rather should carefully and critically examine what it teaches.
Nobody's dismissing it. Nobody's dismissing it as just a book of fables, right? That's a straw man. Carry on, but let's get past number 7.
And I'll give him some on that one, because I have said that the Bible should be seen more like Aesop's fables, that it should teach you lessons, not be taken literally. These animals don't actually talk, and whatever the fable is about, it's the idea of the story. And there's good reason that you tell flood stories, but not because the whole world was flooded, right? These things are just exaggerated to show the power of God or something like that.
Yeah, of course it is, yeah.
And they put the fear into people, but these things really didn't happen.
Well, look, if he had none of these stories included, nobody would be Christian today. Everyone would just be going, they'd just ignore it straight away. Why? Because it was a competitive market for belief, right?
Yeah.
And there were plenty of gods which could do miracles for you. If only you'd pay the price to worship them, right? Only if you'd sacrifice a bull or drink some wine or whatever it is, right? All of them had quite a high cost in order to be members of their particular cult. I'm gonna use the cult word. And so that one of the reasons Christianity became very popular is because it didn't have any of these particular costs to joining. All you had to do was get together, have some bread, right? Have a bit of wine, you know what I mean, and away you go. And even that, I guess, is a later accretion, because I don't hear any of the Christian or the Gospels saying specifically, this is what you've got to do, right? I just hear that Jesus says to the apostles, this is what we're going to do on the Last Supper. So
Simos, we got to tell objective ethics here. What do you mean animals don't talk? How does Mr. Bigfoot ask Mrs. Bigfoot for a shag? Well,
thank you.
Bigfoot's aside. Bigfoots are supernatural, so they can do whatever they want to do.
Yeah. And we got a new member here, or a new person. Please like and subscribe. Beam me up, Bob. Beam me up, Bob.
Beam me up, Bob.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
He's like, Bible, wow, Bible, wow, Bible, wow, when it's the absolute crappiest way for God to communicate. Exactly. Especially in the language, right? Greek, I mean, fuck me. Or Hebrew, those terrible languages. I don't know why Jesus just didn't wait till the video camera was invented.
Let me tell you that I posted in chat the link to that debate on Objective Ethics channel, and it's going to be on did Paul contradict Jesus? So
Okay.
Did Paul contradict Jesus? Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's going to get fruity.
Fact number 8.
Whoa!
Much of Christian
Number 8.
All
We're
right.
running a little over, but we're at number 8. We've got.
Oh yeah, no, this is a good one. Yeah, this is a good one. This is a good one, right? Especially
we're
for
gonna finish
roaming.
this
Are you
one.
still there, roaming? Because I'd like to know how much you think the church fathers disagree with what some of the New Testament says, or disagree, strictly speaking. I don't mean generally speaking. I don't mean interpretation. I just mean make shit up.
And I did ask him for the contemporary writers who wrote about Jesus in 6 BC, BCE to, I gave him to like 50 CE. Between those years, 6 years before Christ, 50 years after Christ, who wrote about him? Where are those writings? And we still haven't gotten an answer, and that would be really helpful, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know for a fact there aren't any, but yeah. I mean, there is some writing, contemporary writing about what was it? Jesus of Apollonia or something.
Apollonia?
Apollonia. Thank you very much. Yeah, but that's not the Jesus of Nazareth, obviously. Different guy. You know, both had beards apparently. Both white guys that had beards, but apart from that, different person.
Christianity doesn't reflect the Bible.
Yeah, reflect. That's an interesting word to use there again.
Yeah.
Kind of a nothing word.
And what verse you're talking about and everything, and
Yeah, well, like I said,
Easy.
the person that coined. I used this last week. The person that coined the Trinity was one of the church fathers. That's why I'd like a Roman Catholic to tell me who it is, because I can't remember who it is exactly. But one of the church fathers is the person that coined the word the Trinity, and that was sometime after, like in the 3rd century, maybe, I think. So just to say, nobody was talking about the Trinity, okay, until the 3rd century.
What I mean by this is that much of what has been practiced, done, or taught supposedly in the name of Jesus Christ doesn't come from the Bible. It is estimated that there are more than 45,000 Christian.
Yep, 45,000 denominations cannot agree. Cannot agree. Ultimately, if it was a game of chess or something, I mean, one of them's going to get kicked off, right? I mean, there can only be one. Highlander, there can only be one. 45,000, folks. Now, I've often said, you can't get your story straight. It seems to be a problem.
I love your reference, Scott. One of my favorite films.
Oh, great movie. Great movie.
Yeah, what's the nobody one called?
My Name is Nobody?
My name is Nobody. Who killed you? Nobody.
Denominations. Yet incredibly, each of these different groups claims to be following Jesus Christ and the Bible.
There you go.
There it is.
My religion
How can
is
they all be right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
They can't all be right, but they can all be wrong.
Yeah.
But see, this is the plausible deniability point here for him. Oh, they're just following the wrong teachings. They're not a true Christian. Oh, I'm sorry, I took it away from you, Simos.
That's all right. That's all right. As long as it's catching on, I'm happy.
The numbers here just don't add up. Following one leader and one book ought to produce
hang on a minute.
one faith.
Yeah, hang on a minute. Just like, right, 3 people, 3 persons, right, equal one God. Count them. 1, 2, 3 equals 1. That makes sense. The maths just doesn't add up, is what I'm saying here.
Not 2, not 3, and certainly not
3.
45,000. Clearly, there must be groups, no matter how well-intentioned and sincere, that have deviated from what Jesus intended and what the Bible teaches.
Yeah,
But not your group.
Yeah, bloody Protestants.
I've heard that if first century Jesus heard any of these people, he wouldn't know what they were talking about because it's diverted so much from first century Jesus. So, yeah, 45,000 denominations, I think Jesus would have said, what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was clear. I was perfectly clear.
Yeah, I didn't say a whole lot.
Yeah, no, I did. I wrote the whole lot out.
Yeah.
You know, what happened to that?
This fact is tragic, but it also
tragic.
serves as a warning.
Tragedy.
If you want to know what the Bible says, and you want to know what Christianity is supposed to look like,
Yeah.
you need to look to the Bible more than those claiming to represent the Bible.
Okay, can you stop there,
Now,
please? I've got a very famous phrase which I'd like to quote at you now. So I'm going to quote Calamity Jill here. He says, "The Bible interprets itself."
Dun, dun, dun.
I mean, I can't think of a more asinine statement for anybody to make on the subject.
This shouldn't be the case. Ideally, everyone claiming to follow Jesus would truly be imitating him and living in accord with his commandments. But practically, we know this isn't so. If you have ever been hurt by a Christian, I am begging you not to judge Christianity, the church, the Bible, and Jesus Christ by that negative interaction.
Especially if it's
Think
a
of it
priest.
this way. Have you ever heard a beginner's piano recital?
I mean,
Unfortunately, yes.
yeah, there's reason not to be happy with the church. So, okay,
Of one of the great composers, say Beethoven,
right?
the performer may very well try their best
No,
and yet
no.
butcher the
I've
piece.
never heard a beginning pianist play Beethoven.
Yeah.
I've heard them play simplistic forms of Beethoven, maybe, which are beginner level, but it's not Beethoven. I can assure you of that. Having played Beethoven, I know I never did.
Now, we wouldn't say such performance reflects negatively on Beethoven's abilities as a composer. His notes were beautifully
Come on,
arranged
Elvis.
and properly played would produce a most pleasing sound. No, the fault lies with the performer. The same thing is true of the Christian religion as arranged by Jesus Christ. Properly lived, it will produce a life that is pleasing for all.
Yeah.
If,
yeah,
therefore,
sure.
you have had a bad reaction to Christianity,
Beethoven.
I invite you to look.
If you've had a bad interaction with Christianity, it's like
With Beethoven, just remember
seems to
the
be a
guy was
problem.
just remember the guy was fucking deaf at the end of his life when he wrote some of his best stuff.
And you seem to have a problem
Yeah.
with other Christians.
Yeah. If you have a problem with Jesus, that's your problem. That's not Jesus' problem, right? Fuck off, you stupid.
To the Bible, because most likely what you encountered wasn't true Christianity at all.
Yay!
And
He
that
said
brings
it
us to
now,
a-
Scott. No true Scotsman. No true Scotsman.
There
Pharisee.
you go.
It's-
Wasn't
yeah,
really a
it's-
Christian.
If it's wrong, it's not Christianity. If it's right, it is. Gotcha. Well done.
Bonus point, which I,
Okay.
as a Christian, want you to know more than anything else.
All right.
You're a
I
twat.
want you to know Jesus.
Uh-oh.
And not just know
number
about
9.
him,
That's number
but to
9.
genuinely
What the fuck?
know
You
him.
can't even count.
And have a relationship.
He
can't
says a
even
bonus.
count.
He says a bonus. We're
There
getting
was no
we're
mention
getting
of
a
a
free
bonus. He said number 9. I didn't say bonus. I said number 9. What is he, fucking crazy? Sounds like a fucking Beatles song anyway.
Relationship with him. True knowledge of Jesus is the greatest blessing any individual could ever hope to attain.
Right.
Note
Not
carefully
really.
the words of Paul.
Not really.
But whatever gain I had, I counted as loss for the sake of Christ.
Yeah,
Indeed, I count.
I can believe that. It's a huge loss. Just for the sake of Christ. Whatever gain I had, I counted as loss.
Yeah.
Go on, make it make sense. Go on. Indeed, I count everything as loss because of the surpassing worth of knowing Jesus Christ, my Lord. Yeah, well, okay, if you want to get on your knees for Jesus, that's fine. I know a lot of Christians which have got very, very red knees. Mainly women. I've been out with.
Everything as loss because of the surpassing worth of knowing Christ Jesus, my Lord. For his sake, I have suffered the loss of all things and count them as rubbish in order that I may gain Christ. And being found in him, not
There you
having...
go.
Toss
For his
everything.
sake, I have suffered loss of all things and count them as rubbish. Well, yeah, all right, that's stoic, right? For a start, that's a bit stoic, isn't it? So Paul was a stoic? Maybe he worshipped at the Greek gods of Epicurus.
righteousness of my own that comes from the law, but that which comes through faith in Christ, the righteousness from God that depends on faith, that I may know him and the power of his resurrection, and may share his sufferings, and become like him in his death, that by any means possible I may attain the resurrection from the dead. Philippians
That's
chapter
interesting.
3, verses
It's
7 through
interesting.
11.
It's interesting that he says that he's done the same thing ago when he said should get everlasting life. Right, here he goes, that I may know him. Right? Again, this is Paul and he's like, oh, yeah. Let's just put a caveat in case I'm wrong. I don't want to piss Jesus off too much. Or the devil in this case.
Yeah.
Paul had come to find that knowing Jesus Christ was the greatest blessing one could achieve. So great, in fact, that it was worth giving up everything else one might have.
Now,
That Paul, of all people, could come to this conclusion is one of the most amazing transformations of history.
why is that?
I don't know.
You saying Paul was a
ornery.
dickhead? You saying Paul
Yeah,
was a bit of a dickhead?
Paul was celibate and everything. I mean, he didn't like anybody or anything. Paul seemed like a sourpuss most of the
I
time.
don't think he. I think he was an incel. I don't think he was like
Incel?
celibate by choice. You know what I mean? I think he just didn't like women. Actually, he probably wasn't celibate at all.
Weirdo.
Yeah, he was just. Well, no, I wouldn't say he was a weirdo. He was just LGBTQ. That's all, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. But he was ornery.
Oh, he was a horny motherfucker, no doubt about it. Swelled by his own power.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all been
He
there,
had
boys.
been an ardent opponent of Christianity and a violent persecutor of the church until he came to know Christ. When Paul learned who Jesus really is, not who Paul thought he was or heard he was, but when he came to see Jesus as he really is, that changed everything for Paul.
How do you know? You weren't there.
Yeah.
Sorry, just had to do that.
And Paul never knew Jesus, right?
Yeah.
He never knew Jesus.
Yeah,
He never met him. He never.
Yeah.
I mean, the best he did is hear him. So you know,
A vision in my head. That's
yeah. Well, vision. Yeah, it's a strong. A word in his ear, I would say.
right.
Yeah. No.
And I believe it can change everything for you too. So how can a person come to know Jesus today? As we have noted, you're not guaranteed to know Jesus clearly from looking to the various churches or even those who claim to follow him. The only way to know Jesus is by careful study of the Word of God. If we can help you in this study, please reach out to us at topicalbiblestudies.com/Bible
They'll
study.
learn you.
We want you to know
They are going to learn you all about the Bible and all about
And yet-
Jesus.
And yet they said they warned you off going, to church to learn about the Bible.
Yeah, warn you.
Weird that.
when you go
Weird
to-
that. But our church, no, it's a different matter.
Yeah,
No, you can come and pay us. That's fine.
Jesus and would love nothing better
Hey.
than to introduce you to him.
Yeah,
This guy
I'd
gets way
like,
too many subscribers.
to be fair,
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
like nothing more than someone to introduce me to Jesus, because that guy deserves a fucking slap in the face.
Especially the ones they're pushing on here.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get off here because I've got I've got that debate over on OE's channel in
Yeah.
less than 30 minutes, and I have got to have something to eat.
We're done. We're done here, anyways.
Pretty
Okay.
much.
Good to see you, Robin, and
Okay.
good luck. We'll be rooting for you.
We on. It's fun.
Okay.
Indeed. I'm just going to put that link in. Don't you worry. There's Objective Ethics channel. Everybody, when we finish, go over there. The debate starts in about 20 minutes, 24 minutes.
Yes.
So, yeah, please let's go and raid Objective Ethics.
By the way,
try and
the
show that
Trinity
one.
movies, they call me Trinity, and
Nobody.
then of course I think those are available on Tubi, although you have to wade through commercials.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, you can see those. The best Trinity you'll ever hear about are those two movies.
Yeah, and those two guys, they do quite a lot of movies together, don't they? So they do Terence Hill, is it, and somebody else? Who's the other guy?
I don't remember. I think he was
Okay.
with Henry Fonda in the Nobody movie.
Who?
Terence Hill.
Oh yes, I think he was in that. Yeah. No, you're
Yeah.
right.
So
You're right.
You want to see some old Henry Fonda for some reason.
And I think there's a few Trinity movies as well. There isn't just one. Let me just look it
Now
up.
now we get into the issue of, are those true Trinity movies, because they I think they had a different producer or something like that.
Trinity is still my name.
Yeah.
But it's done with the same thing. Terence Hill and Bud Spencer. That's the other guy I was thinking of. Yeah. So. And they've got quite a few movies out.
Well,
The Genius Terence Hill.
He certainly had his day in the limelight there.
He's very good. I really think he's a great actor. I do. It's the unsubtlety of it that really amuses me. Trinity is still my name. Trinity
Oh.
rides again.
Well, do you feel that we've been straw manning the Christian view of science and everything that this?
I don't think so. Although it's it's human nature to do that, but I think we've avoided. I think we've acted as a corrective to certain just platitudes, sweeping statements made by this particular Christian. I think. Go ahead.
But I'm just saying. I just want to say, yeah, I did it for comedic purposes only. If I did it for comedic purposes. So yeah,
Sarcasm.
there's that. Yeah, I was being sarcastic. That's true.
That's right. We're a salty bunch. I mean, we're going to do that. That's the purpose of
Hey,
it.
look, if you can't
Yeah.
entertain as well as educate, then you shouldn't be in the game, as far as I'm concerned.
I didn't see them as good arguments or even a straw man or anything. They're just some bad arguments and rehashed a little different way.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah, and I'm serious with most of my criticism with it. right?
You know, and when we push back with our own particular arguments, it'll reach a point where somebody like that will just consider us depraved or spiritually blinded. There's some category they'll put us in to otherize us, so they can wash their hands of us and say, well, I did my best, or I gave the best we had, when it's not the best they could have. The best they could have would be rational and textually, critically precise and accurate, and actually historical, and you just don't get that.
Yeah, and it's not like we disagreed with everything the guy said, right? When one of these things came up certainly about the historicity, right? Straight away I said, of course it's grounded in history, right? At least the things that are historical are grounded in history.
Some things can be. Who cares? And when they were naming people and places, okay, somebody wrote it down. Good for you. You're not proving divinity, though, just because somebody wrote something down.
Yeah, I think we made that point as well, right? We just said just because some things are historically true, it doesn't mean that everything's historically true.
Right.
And we gave examples to do with Sherlock Holmes and Superman or Spider-Man or whomever else. And, those are valid criticisms as far as I can see, and weren't refuted by anybody in text that's in the side chat, right? So, okay, that's fair enough. If you come to this later, please put in the comments below what your objections are, and I'm sure Dave will see them and write you a quick response, hopefully. Because we don't mean to be straw manning it, other than for comedical purposes. But that's just how that goes, and I make no excuses for trying to be funny, even if I'm not funny. I just enjoy it too much. Sorry. And sometimes turns out I am funny, by the way, just to point that out as well. Do unto others as you do to yourself.
Well,
I thought that was a particularly funny moment of the hangout, personally. And for those of you that want to know, I think I said it within the first hour or around the hour mark. So just go back, rewatch that, and listen for the point where he says that.
I want to point out that we went through the whole video, even though we went a little long. We went through all points in the video, and that's only a couple times it's happened where we finished a video. Here at Saturday Night at the Atheist, we took it seriously. I didn't see the straw men all over the place. I mean, some of the things we use a little bit, but they're deservedly so. But most of those things are not the reasons we don't. I've put it back on the believer. I say, it's your fault that I'm not a believer. I mean, they haven't done the convincing, right? They have a great selling point, but they haven't seemed to have done the convincing. I'm sorry. Now, does your God exist? Okay, fine, I'll grant it to you. But it doesn't do me any good, because I have a hard time believing in it with the Magic Zoo boat. Splitting the moon in half, or any of these fantastic stories from mythologies. It kind of ruins your story, right?
Yeah.
So
it does.
Someday, we're going to be gone, and we'll find out if there's a super being in the sky or not.
Yeah.
There you
Absolutely.
go.
Or we probably won't find out because we'll be dead. But that's how it goes. I love that quote by I can't remember which Greek said it now. What is it? I'm going to have to look it up. Just talk for a moment, will you, Scott, for me?
Well, once I believed in God, knew my Bible, and that didn't bother me until I just started seeing that the life just isn't the way the Bible, the preachers, the theologians says it is. And to me, what became the truth was the fact that everything was explained best by science, psychology, sociology, economics. Those had a good grasp generally on the way things worked. There were still things to learn, still things we didn't know, but to be so arrogant as to know what God is like, to me, it just became the thing that broke the camel's back, the last straw. Not just the hypocrisy you see, and not just the inability of the quote unquote Holy Spirit to change people's lives, but just the fact that people were so arrogant as to just blithely spout off that they know what God's like and what He would do in a given situation, and it doesn't show up in life. Things are better explained, by the factors that I showed. So a Christian is going to have to do a whole lot more than what these apologists are giving us, to convince me that that God exists, that He's real, that their religion has something for us that nobody else can offer.
Yeah, absolutely. So I found the quote that I was looking for. And of course, it's by somebody I mentioned earlier, a Stoic. And this is just typical of Stoicism, I'm afraid, Epicurus. And I'm quoting at, roughly, not exactly. When we exist, death is not. And when death exists, we are not. Why should I fear that I am not?
There you go. And I wanted to point out again, thank you, Tori, for being a member for 8 months. And an extra shout out to Objective Ethics for dropping the big coin. Glad to see you up and well, brother. Take the kids out to lunch on me. Give them my thanks for taking care of you in your time of need. Some good kids, good family. So far, I've gotten good news at the doctors, so keep it up. It's like Simos and I were joking that we like it when they give you appointments in advance. They expect to see you back for a little while.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so see you in a couple months. I've been, except for feeling all the crap and everything. Most of the chemo stuff, I'm off all that stuff. They were just giving me some insulin for my kidneys because my sugar was off. So I've been playing diabetic lately. I don't know. Everything seems to be a side effect. It's all those years of joking about side effects. Well, you need to take this medicine, but it's going to give you this side effect, and you got to take this, and it's going to give you that side effect. And Simos knows you get fat joints and all kind of stuff, and it's like, well, that's because you're taking that medicine. Here's another medicine to take care of that medicine, right?
Yeah. It also, Dave, it's kind of weird because when I used to take actual pharmacological, like given by the doctor, right? Here's some medicine to get you better. When I was younger, certainly like in my 20s and whatnot, I never used to like side effects. Yeah, whatever. They weren't very strong at all. But now I'm older. Side effects. Oh my God, do I notice them?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
man.
Yeah, that kicks you sideways sometimes, especially when I got out of the operation, right? All the painkillers they gave me. Oh my God, the side effects kicked my ass. Oh my God, I started having just remembering some of the delusions I had from taking the painkillers. I'm thinking, oh my God, I can't believe I actually thought that. I was convinced somebody was out to kill me. I was absolutely convinced.
Mm-hmm.
And not for just a little bit, for weeks, right? And it really got to me. And I'm like, these memories just started coming up recently again, because obviously I'm, far enough past the side effects of those drugs now. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, is someone still trying to kill me? Am I a little bit too paranoid? Am I not paranoid enough? What the,
Oh yeah.
It's amazing how you think about these things. It's just incredible, right?
We're-
So, and that's
we're
just down to
so-
old age, I think,
We're gonna celebrate those ones that supporting the channel with one more "You Rock" before we head out here this evening.
Yes, please.
You rock, let's rock with the fire in our veins. Rock on till the skies, till the thunder and rain. All hail Bigfoot, the legend, the king. He walks among shadows, the wild spirits sing.
Everybody head over to Objective Ethics. 10 minutes,
Yeah.
10-minute call here. So just go get yourself a cup of tea or coffee or a beer or some snacks. Have yourself a toilet break, and then come back, sit down in front of your PC, and watch what it can only be described, I feel, as what is going to be some kind of, what's the subject? I can't remember the subject right now. Let me have a look, because I thought it was quite interesting. The subject is, did Paul contradict Jesus? So if that doesn't sound like an incoming train wreck, I don't know what does. Just saying. And that's got to be
coming
one.
up? Anything
That's
else
got to be
coming
one
up?
to look forward
Simos
to.
that you want to mention?
Not really. I think just head over to Objective Ethics.
Okay.
Remember to like and subscribe to his channel. I want to thank Scott especially for today, as he is not a Scotsman. Thank you, Scott.
I'm a true Scot, man, but I'm not a true Scotsman.
Yeah, I think if you put another T in it, I'd be agreeing with you. I think that's very funny, and you should actually put true Scotsman
You never
The
know.
future.
with the double T.
Scott and Mike might pop on here or there. You never know when they're going to be on. Make sure you check everybody's links in the description. Everybody's down there. Simos is down there. Answers in Atheism is down there.
And don't forget that Mike will be on Skeptic Philosophy tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. And
Yeah.
it should be dealing with, I think it was going to deal with presuppositionalism, maybe, and of course, evolution. So, also, to me, the best, the truest, most ethical, moral exhortation I could give you, I put it in the side chat, but I will say it here: be excellent to each other. And in addition, party on, dudes.
Party on. Also, there we go.
Party on,
Just say,
dudes.
Nike says, just do it with Simos.
And we should be back next Saturday to look at another video. And maybe we'll get through all 8 points next week, too.
Oh,
Wouldn't
that'd be
something?
fantastic. That would be fantastic.
I've
I've really enjoyed tonight, Dave. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
had a
hosting
good
this.
time.
Yeah.
It feels
Scott.
good to complete a video ever so often.
Yeah, a pleasure. And of course, Mike was here for a while, and Robin was in for a while, and we wish Robin all the best coming up here shortly. Hope she's all rested up and ready. So, I don't know what else to say other than thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks, everybody in the panel. And please like the video, share, subscribe, all those good things. If you want to join the fun, you can hit the join button. You can hit all those sweet emojis out there. And we will see you next time, if not next Saturday, for Saturday Night at the Atheists.
See you next Saturday. What a great show. Thank you, everybody, for being here. As always, the chat makes it. And we couldn't do this without you, so thank you.
And we love toast.
And we love toast.
Without a sound, history speaks in tales of lore, knocking at the captive death's door. Oh! Statues in the halls, books and stories on the floor. Looking at the captive text, smells of wine, hearts are keen, pages turn to